folks, let's discuss a set which is about Raman and flying groceries. So what does it say? It says Raman had been working tirelessly as a project manager in the IT department of Flying Groceries, a renowned app-based supply chain company, all right, for the past 3 years. Having graduated from a top-tier engineering college, he dived straight into the corporate world, managing projects with great zeal that inspired his seniors. Okay, so clearly he's done a good job. So in BDM, it's important when you're reading the set, right? You should always make a note of the important details from what you've read. So here it says that, okay, his position is important or can be important in questions. Project manager in the IT department of Flying Groceries, which is the company. It's a renowned app-based supply chain company, all right? Now, for the past 3 years, this duration can also be important, okay? Any data which is quantitative, you should make a note of that, okay? Usually it turns out to be important. Now, again, this might not turn out to be important at all, depending on the questions, but it's important to make a note of it. Having graduated from a top-tier engineering college, okay, so he came from a very good engineering college. He dived straight into the corporate world. So he was a fresher when he joined Flying Groceries, managing projects with great zeal, and that inspired his seniors. So his performance has been very good in the past 3 years that he has worked for Flying Groceries. At the end of his first year with Flying Groceries, impressed with his hard work, Raman's boss Suraj, the founder CEO of Flying Groceries, fast-tracked his promotion and made him delivery manager responsible for multiple projects of a vertical. Okay, so this can also be important, right? I mean, at the end of his first year itself, he got a promotion, and it clearly says that his promotion was fast-tracked because Suraj, his boss, was impressed with his performance, and he was made delivery manager responsible for multiple projects in a vertical. So he started as a project manager. In 1 year, he became a delivery manager. Suraj also promised Raman the position of Chief Operation Officer in the 5th year of his tenure. Now, this is a big position. This is a C-level position, right? CEO, CMO, CTO, CEO. These are all C-level positions. These are the top management positions. So COO in 5 years is huge. But this was a promise that Suraj made Raman. And he said that in the 5th year of your tenure, he will be made Chief Operation Officer. He's completed 3 years. Just remember that based on the previous paragraph. In search of a greater career trajectory, Raman pursued entrance exams for business schools. Okay, so Raman was doing quite well in Flying Groceries, but he wanted a bigger career for himself. You know, he was ambitious. So he pursued entrance exams for business schools. Maybe he wrote CAT or XAT. His efforts bore fruits as he secured a place in the country's best business school. Fantastic. Okay, so he has managed to crack the competitive exams and he secured a place in the country's best business school. Known for a strong alumni base, stellar placement records, and demanding academic requirements. Okay, so he's going to a top tier 1B school. Fantastic. Raman was delighted, obviously. He had 3 months to join the business school. Okay, that's usually the time that's given to you, right? Once you clear interviews. Flying Groceries demanded that any employee who wished to leave the organization should give at least a month's notice. Fair enough. This is standard procedure. In fact, 1 month in the Indian context is you're quite lucky. Indian companies usually tend to ask you for 3 months. But 1 month is standard procedure, right? Any company would ask you for that much notice so that you can transition your roles and responsibilities and all of that before leaving. Raman decided to continue working and enriching his work experience, which will be beneficial when applying to companies after graduating from the business school. Fair enough. Therefore, he decided not to share the news of the offer with anyone else for the time being. Okay. So see, he had 3 months to join the business school. He had a choice, right? He could have informed in the beginning of the 3 months, or he can say that the company expects me to give 1 month notice. I will inform them 1 month in advance. Okay. But I hope that when you read this set, you sort of understood that there is a tricky situation here. Okay. Even before the questions, we can recognize that, right? I mean, he's doing very well. His boss is very impressed. He's fast-tracked his promotion. He's promised him a promotion. And now if Raman suddenly comes and says, I'm leaving, obviously his boss might not be happy. But Raman is not doing anything wrong. Okay. He's waiting. He's saying, I don't want to give the information right now. I will give it, probably he says, if it's not mentioned, but maybe he'll give it 1 month in advance, which is the company's protocol. But this situation might get tricky with his boss. Okay, that's something that you can make out from the set itself. All right, so it's a pretty long set, and in BDM, it's important to make quick notes about the important points that you've seen in the set. Especially in long sets, do make written notes. It's always recommended. They don't have to be long sentences. They can just be quick bullet points in your notepad. All right, so just recapping the important points that we went through. His designation might be important. His department might be important, right? He's worked for past 3 years, so that's his tenure. That might be important as well. And he was a fresher when he entered the company. He was promoted. His promotion was fast tracked. So in 1 year, he was made the delivery manager, and he was promised the position of chief operation officer in the 5th year of his tenure, right? Then he pursued entrance exams, got into a really, really good school. He has 3 months to join the business school, but the company requires only 1 month's notice. And right now, what Raman has decided is he has decided to continue and not share this news with anyone. So he says that, because he thinks the work experience will be important. So therefore, he decided not to share the news of the offer with anyone else for the time. Okay, fantastic. So that's a quick recap of the set. Let's go to the question now. Now here, as you can see, the question is giving you additional information, which often happens in BDM. So it's important to note down the details of the set. It's important to make a note of the additional details, additional information given in the question as well. It's at the end of this, it's all data-driven decision making. So you have to consider the data very closely before you make any decision in BDM. Flying Groceries was planning to implement a much-needed update to enhance the functionality and user experience of their app. Okay, according to Suraj, who's Raman's boss, the update was expected to take at least 6 months to complete. So you can already sense the problem, right? He has 3 months before B school. This update is going to take 6 months. Suraj wanted Raman to lead this project because his leadership was critical for the project success. This is not a surprise. Raman was a high performer. So it's not a surprise that Suraj wanted Raman to lead the project. However, Raman knew that he would be there only for 3 months. He was not sure whether he should accept the project or not. So Raman is now in a dilemma, right? This update is going to take 6 months. It's a critical update, right? But he only has 3 months. So now Raman is not sure whether he should accept the project or not. Which of the following information, if true, will best assist Raman in accepting the role of leading the project? Okay, so focus on the question. Understanding the question is very important in BDM. What they're asking is, this is the core part, will best assist or help Raman in accepting the role of leading the project. Right now, Raman has a dilemma. This is the dilemma. Okay, so we have to choose an option which will address this dilemma to the maximum extent possible and help Raman in accepting the role of leading the project. So some additional information we have to choose. Okay, the most relevant one. So remember that and focus on that while you're evaluating the options. Number 1 says Raman had previously taken many projects home and the business school would have no classes during the weekends. So see, now there is a precedent. In the past, he has taken many projects home. So what this option is potentially implying is that after 3 months, when he goes to B school, perhaps he can work on the project from B school, okay, remotely. And it says, and the business school would have no classes during the weekends. Now, see, this is the problem. Previously, when he took these projects home, he was working full time. He wasn't studying there. So even if he was working from home, he was working full time. Now he would only have time during the weekends. Will that work? It will not work. As opposed to 5 days, he'll only be able to work 2 days, right? So yes, he has taken projects in the past in the home, but the situation is not the same. Now he doesn't have 5 days or 6 days, whatever he was working. He would only have weekends. Okay, and business school doesn't have classes. Business school can have other responsibilities over the weekends. So he won't have the time. So this option won't work. Okay, the situation now is not the same. All right, let's look at number 2. The last 2 projects Raman led were successfully completed by subordinates during his exams. Okay, again, we're talking about a precedent. Past data, and past data is important if it's relevant. The last 2 projects Raman led, okay, and he's going to lead this one as well, were successfully completed by subordinates during his exams. So in the past, it has happened, 2 projects that he was leading were successfully completed by subordinates when he was busy. So there is a precedent here. Now think about it. 3 months he leads the project. The 3 months he goes to business schools. There is a possibility that his subordinates can complete that project in his absence, because it has happened in the past. He was busy during the exams. He led the project and subordinates completed it. Now also it is possible. Is it going to be difficult? Very difficult, because they'll be halfway through the project. But there is a precedent and that could apply in this situation as well. So we're going to park it. We'll see if there's a better option, but this seems feasible. Number 3. Raman could requisition more human resources to his team for the next 3 months. Now read this option very carefully. They're saying for the next 3 months. That means the first 3 months of the project when he's around. So what this option is implying is that the 3 months that Raman spends at Flying Groceries before going to B school, he could requisition more human resources and perhaps complete the project with extra manpower. That's how this option is trying to address the problem. That maybe potentially finish the project in 3 months with extra manpower so that this problem is addressed. But think about it. Not every project can be expedited like this by pumping in more resources. Maybe this project requires 6 months due to other reasons. There can be a variety of reasons that contribute to a project's timeline. Human resources is an important thing, but it's not the only thing. So you can't pump in, every project is not like that. You pump in more human resources and you complete it in 50% of the time. That's not possible. The project could be dependent on other things that would only be available in the second half. So that's why this option doesn't work. Okay, it's not as simple as pumping in more manpower and finishing it 50% in 50% of the duration. It doesn't work like that. Okay, there could be many other dependencies apart from many other requirements apart from human resources. So that's where this option has gone. Suraj might advise against the update if he got to know that Raman was leaving soon. Now, understand the question. You have to choose a piece of information that will best help Raman in accepting the role of leading the project. How does this information help Raman in accepting the role? Think about it. So basically, this option is saying that if Suraj comes to know that Raman is leaving soon, he will advise against the update, and that is why Raman should accept the project. That doesn't make sense. Just because Suraj, there is a chance of Suraj cancelling the update altogether, Raman can't just accept the project and say, I'm doing this because there is a risk that Suraj might cancel the project. Now he will do it. Let's say if this happens. Raman takes up the project. He'll work for 3 months. And after 3 months, he'll leave. What happens then? Suraj can cancel the update then also. Right? If Suraj is so fixated on Raman leading it, that can happen 3 months down the line as well. And then you have to understand what is better. Is it better to start the project and leave it halfway? Or is it better to abandon the project in the beginning itself? Maybe it's better to abandon the project in the beginning itself. Why put 3 months of work and then run into problems? Right? So this can't be a reason that is helping Raman in accepting the role of leading the project. Okay, this doesn't make sense. Number 5, during his time with Flying Groceries, Raman finished some projects ahead of schedule. Great. Again, they're talking about a precedent, data. So some projects have been finished by Raman ahead of schedule. So what this option is implying is maybe Raman can finish this project also ahead of schedule. Ahead of schedule is one thing. Ahead of schedule by 50% is another thing. What are the chances of a project that's going to take 6 months that Raman finishes it in 3 months? Ahead of schedule can be by a week, by 2 weeks, by a few days, 10%, 20%. But 50% is not realistic. Okay, so that's why this option won't work. Ahead of schedule by 50% is very, very difficult, next to impossible. And again, the same point. Some work can only be done in the second half because of some dependencies. So that's why this is unrealistic and this option is out. The only option that works is number 2, and hence that is the answer. Okay, now see, this might seem like a lukewarm option, right? Because there is a possibility, but it is the best option that we have. There is a precedent that subordinates have completed projects in the past. So this can happen again, or this could happen again. We're not saying that this will 100% happen, but out of the 5, this will best help Raman in accepting the role of leading the project. Okay, it is a tricky question. Okay, so definitely learn from it. Let's look at question 2. After a couple of months, Raman resigned as expected. Suraj was shocked by Raman's resignation and asked him to reconsider his decision. Suraj's reaction is also expected. When Raman expressed his inability to continue, Suraj felt betrayed. This led to a series of heated arguments between them, and they swore to never work together again. This escalated. This really escalated. This is probably Raman's worst nightmare coming true. Okay. I mean, see, this can happen in real life as well. I mean, managers are humans, right? I mean, of course, Suraj shouldn't have reacted like that. He should have been professional, but in real life, this can happen. A manager, a boss can have a very emotional reaction. And that is what is happening here. Suraj is feeling betrayed. That's a very intense feeling. And it escalated into a series of heated arguments, going to the extent that they swore never to work together again. It's a very extreme situation. Okay. Raman joined the business school. However, he soon realized that summer internship placements were approaching, which happens in the first year of business school. Consequently, he would require verification of his responsibilities from flying groceries. Now, this is a tricky situation. Okay, that's why they always say don't burn your bridges, especially with the companies that you work for, no matter how. And I mean, I'm getting into Gyan mode, but it is what it is. Even if you have a crappy boss, right? Burning your bridges with the company that you work for 3 years or for whatever duration is not a good idea, because you will need them when you apply to other jobs or in business school, right? But anyway, that's separate. So here he requires verification of his responsibilities from flying groceries. And he has bitterly fought with his former manager, Suraj. So Raman is now in a fix. Which of the following actions is the most appropriate for Raman to obtain his verification? Again, understand the question very well. Most appropriate, most proper. Okay, you can say the best response here, okay, or the most sensible response, or the most reasonable response. That's what appropriate means. So which of the following actions is the most appropriate for Raman to obtain his verification? In other words, what can Raman do to obtain the verification, or what best can Raman do to obtain his verification? Remember, he is fought with Suraj. Okay, so let's look at the options. Raman should write a sincere and professional apology letter expressing regret for the argument Raman had with Suraj. Now, this is a very attractive option. That, the option says Raman should apologize, okay, and then, they can move on. Suraj can forgive him, and then Suraj can give him the verification. But there are a lot of ifs here. First of all, you're writing a sincere and professional apology letter. Okay, it's not even a professional email, it's a letter. Okay, you're expressing regret. But what are the chances that now Suraj will give in? It may also come across like that now, because Raman wants this verification, Raman is expressing an apology. So that can also make his apology not sincere. Okay, Suraj might think that, okay, now he's apologizing because he wants this verification, right? So that can be a little weird. We cannot be sure that Suraj will accept this apology letter or take it in the right way and then give him his verification. There are a lot of ifs there. And also, sincere and professional apology letter, that also is a little weird, writing a letter. Okay, it's like it seems more of a personal medium than a professional medium. But more than that, the thing with this is there are a lot of ifs. Will Suraj accept it? Will Suraj take it in the right way? Or will Suraj think that Raman is just doing this because he wants a verification, wants verification of his responsibilities? So let's park this, but this is unlikely the answer. Let's look at number 2. Raman should contact the HR representative to facilitate the verification of Raman's responsibilities. This is the standard process that is followed in companies. Okay, HR, you get in touch with HR, which is a neutral third party, and you request HR to facilitate the verification of Raman's responsibility. So that means Raman is not even getting in touch with Suraj. Remember, they don't have a good relationship right now. So you can get in touch with HR, raise a formal request, which is the right way to go about it, and HR can figure this out with Suraj. This is a good option. Now compare 2 with 1. 2 is extremely professional. He's going through the right channels. Okay, and there is no interaction with Suraj. He's getting in touch with HR, and HR will liaise between them and potentially get his verification. So 2 is definitely better than 1. 1 is not the right channel. And again, 1, there is an if. Suraj may or may not accept the apology. Okay, so here this is gone. This, we're going to park this. Raman should re-establish communication with Suraj, okay, through social media platforms like Facebook and persuade him there. This is very weird. If you have a professional relationship and you want to mend that, you should go through professional channels. It should be an email, it should be an in-person meeting. He can't get in touch with Suraj through social media platforms and try to persuade him there. This is extremely strange. And again, there is a big if here. How do we know? Suraj might not accept his apology, right? And it might come across as not being sincere because he has some work now. So this is weird, especially because of social media. This is gone. Raman should write an email to Suraj. Okay, great. Emphasizing Raman's roles and responsibilities and request him to approve them. Now, this is a professional channel, right? We are writing an email. Raman is writing an email to Suraj. But again, there is a big if. Will Suraj accept this? And it simply says, write an email to Suraj, emphasizing roles and responsibilities, request him to approve them. There is no even apology here. Okay. What are the chances of Suraj accepting it? They've had a bitter fight. They've sworn not to work together again. What are the chances? Very minimal chances that Suraj would accept it. Okay. Unless and at least very charitable. So this is also gone. Raman should reach out to a mutual acquaintance within the company and ask her to intervene. See, now the thing is mutual acquaintance. This can be anyone. This could be Raman's teammate. This could be Raman's peer. Imagine if it's Raman's peer, that peer is walking to a member of the management and trying to intervene between the manager and an ex-employee, and these two parties have bitterly fought. They don't even have any authority then. Okay, let's say if it's not a manager, it's a mutual acquaintance. It can be anyone. If it's a peer or a colleague, the colleague getting there and trying to intervene the fight, Suraj, there are very high chances that Suraj won't take it well. He'll be like, it's none of your business. Why are you intervening? Right? So they have no authority here to intervene. Therefore, this option doesn't work. The option that works is number 2, because this is the right channel and it also avoids contact with Suraj because there is a conflict. So therefore, 2 is the answer. Okay, let's look at question number 3. Raman received a verification letter from Flying Groceries outlining his basic job responsibilities during his tenure there. Great. However, Raman required a document to substantiate the additional responsibilities he undertook at Flying Groceries by going beyond his call of duty. Now, this is also important, right? Raman wants to highlight the additional responsibilities that he undertook over and above his job, basically indicating to his future employer that he's somebody who exceeds expectations and goes beyond his role. So he's gotten his basic job responsibilities outlined. He's gotten that document. Now he wants a document substantiating or giving evidence for additional responsibility. Okay. Sadly, he did not have any documentation of such additional responsibility. Okay, so he doesn't have that documentation. Now the question is, how does he go about getting that? Which of the following options will best help substantiate the additional responsibilities Raman undertook? Understand the question again, very, very important. Which of the following options will best help substantiate or provide evidence? Substantiate is providing evidence. Will best help provide evidence for the additional responsibilities Raman undertook. Okay, basic, he already has a document. So let's now look at the options. Raman should collect testimonials on his additional responsibilities from his ex-teammates at Flying Groceries. Okay, let's evaluate this. So it's saying that collect testimonials. Okay, so that means like, let's say, written documents from his ex-teammates at Flying Groceries that would outline his additional responsibilities. Now this option, see, usually when you get these documents, right, outlining basic or additional responsibilities, usually it should come from the management. Usually it should come from your direct manager because that has a lot of weight. You're submitting this to other companies, right? Companies would typically consider it or consider that as a solid document if the immediate manager, that's the best case scenario, that the immediate manager has given this documentation. But this option is saying collecting testimonials or his additional responsibilities from ex-teammates, which could be his peers as well. Okay, so there is proof. If he gets this, there will be proof. But this proof is not very strong because it's coming from ex-teammates and not management. So we're going to park it. Okay, right. We're looking for the best option. Raman should write a public post on social media appealing to Suraj, mentioning the challenges he faced while taking additional responsibilities and how he overcome them. Why would you take a professional request on social media? No company would appreciate it. And especially in today's day and age, you see what happens on social media, right? Disgruntled employees come on social media, talk about their companies, right? No company would appreciate that. No company wants their internal affairs to be broadcasted on social media and then probably misconstrued and misinterpreted and then controversy erupting out of that. This is a horrible option. Okay, nobody should ever do that. This will not fly. So writing a public post on social media, I mean, what is Raman trying to do? Okay, So this will never be appreciated by any company. So this is gone. And the chances of the company responding or Suraj responding are nil. Raman should reach out to the recently recruited Chief Supply Chain Officer. Okay, this is the member of the management at Flying Groceries to highlight the additional work he contributed to facilitate the officer's task. Fantastic. This is a good option. Reach out to the recently recruited Chief Supply Chain Officer. Okay. And this could, this seems like a senior person. All right. Might not be management, but it's a senior person. It seems better than ex-teammates. But the problem with 3 is a recently recruited Chief Supply Chain Officer. Raman wants proof of his additional responsibilities that he undertook during his tenure. This person has been recently recruited. This person won't have any context into what Raman did. So even if this person writes a document, I mean, how will he help substantiate it? He has no context. Sorry, not he. They have no context about what Raman did because they've recently been recruited. So that's why this option doesn't work. Seems like a senior person, which is good. But had this senior person been around when Raman was there and they had worked closely together, it would have been a great option. But because they were recently recruited, they won't have context. And hence, we're going to remove this. It's an attractive option, but the recently word is where there is a problem. Raman should create documentation detailing quantifiable metrics and results about his extra work based on his memory. So Raman is creating his own documentation based on memory. Think about it. A company, will it carry any weight for the company? They've asked the company, the future company, or the company that's going to recruit Raman, let's say potentially for internships, is asking for evidence. Now, if Raman writes his own documentation, how will that evidence be considered strong? They want somebody else, they want a third party. And best would be somebody from the management to give evidence that Raman undertook these responsibilities. Raman creating his own documentation saying, I did this, I did that, won't carry much weight. And also he's going to do this based on memory. That can be very inaccurate, right? As opposed to if the company does it, they might have documentation. So 2 reasons why this doesn't work. Self-documentation in this case won't work, and the memory bit as well. Number 5, Raman should call Suraj, okay, and explain that he will not be able to get a consulting or an operations job without verification. Okay, so this option says Raman should try to reason this with Suraj. But remember, the conflict that Raman and Suraj have had is very extreme. Okay, what are the chances of Suraj understanding Raman's situation? Maybe Suraj is still very angry. And Suraj will be like, I don't care. I'm not going to do this for you. Right? He might not say it, but he might just decide not to do it. So chances of this materializing are very low. And hence, that's why it's not the answer. The best answer is indeed 1. It's a tricky one because it seems lukewarm because we're saying from his ex-teammates at Flying Groceries. But think about it. The chances of this happening are high. This is professional documentation and it's coming from people within Flying Groceries. So that's why it is the best option available. ABC Business School was a school with a difference, regarded as one of the top business schools in Western India, but relatively unknown beyond that. The school catered to smaller organizations seeking to hire students for sales and marketing positions with occasional openings in HR roles. Okay, so there are some important details here which you should take a note of. It's telling you about the school. It's telling you sort of features of the school, right? So it is one of the top business schools in Western India, but it's relatively unknown beyond that. So we'll keep that in mind. It might come in handy during the questions. And the school catered to smaller organizations, okay, seeking to hire students for sales and marketing roles, positions, primarily with occasional openings in HR roles. Okay, so this is talking about placements. It caters to smaller companies and primarily for sales and marketing positions. These students were open to secure job opportunities, even if they offered relatively lower salaries. Interesting. So this is about student preferences or what students were okay with. So they wanted secure job opportunities. That means the job security, job safety, the risk of layoffs should be lower. Stability, they're valuing stability, even if they offered relatively lower salaries. So the students were okay with that as long as the job gave them stability. The organizations that recruited from ABC did not really care for the talent, okay, but appreciated the students' ability to follow orders without questioning them. So the organizations, the smaller organizations that were coming there, they wanted yes men and women, okay, people who will say yes, like Hanji types in Hindi, or yes sir, yes ma'am, and not question the management, and the companies didn't really care for talent. So it's an interesting point. It might come in handy. You should make a note of it. So they didn't really care for talent, but they wanted yes men and yes women. The school's strength laid in its alumni who consistently returned to the institution for recruitment, thereby ensuring the school's continued existence. Now, this is a very important point. It clearly tells you that the school's strength is in its alumni. So alumni are extremely important for the school because they consistently return to the institution for recruitment. That means they are the ones giving them a lot of placement. So obviously alumni is very important for the school, and there's a very strong phrase here. It says thereby ensuring the school's continued existence. So this is a very important point. Okay, so just by the language you can make out it's a very important point. Alumni plays a big role in the school because they come back and recruit a major portion of these students. Given the placement record, the school attracted a specific segment of business school aspirants who wanted a solid job but were not excited about learning. Okay, so now the last point talks about what kind of student profile does this business school attract. Okay, so they wanted a solid job, which has come up before as well, right? They wanted job safety. So those are the kind of aspirants that got attracted, but these students were not excited about learning. The companies did not care for talent. The students were not excited about learning. The whole sort of discussion here, the whole focus of this business school is centered around placements. Okay, not a great situation, but of course, we're not here to judge. This is a set that we have. So make sure to make a written or a mental note about the school's features, the fact that alumni is its strengths, what are the student preference, and what kind of student profiles does the school attract. Okay, keep them in mind. Let's look at question 1. Recently, some alumni of ABC threatened that their children should be given preference in admissions or they would withdraw as recruiters. Okay. The director was, however, hesitant about allowing alumni to interfere in running the school because the fairness of the admission process had earned ABC high respect within the corporate world that recruited from the school. Now, this is a big dilemma for the director. Okay. See, look at this. Look at the language. It's pretty strong. They're threatening the director that the alumni is threatening that the children should be given preference, otherwise they'll withdraw as recruiters. Now, this is a big problem for the director because alumni for this school is very, very important. We've already seen that. Okay. Now, the director is in a dilemma because the school has a reputation around fairness of admission process. Okay. The school is known for that. And this has earned them high respect within the corporate world that recruited from the school. Okay, so on one side you have the alumni, on the other side you have the school's reputation regarding the fairness of the admissions process. If the director gives in to the alumni, the fairness gets impacted. That will also impact placements because the reputation in the corporate world will go down. If the director doesn't give in to the alumni, that will also impact placements because alumni is the big pillar of strength for the school. So this is a big dilemma for the director. Okay, clearly, let's look at the question. Which of the following reasons, if true, will best help the director not to worry about pandering to those alumni? Now, first of all, you should understand what pandering is. Pandering is giving in. Okay, giving in or satisfying or catering to their demands. And generally, pandering is used in a negative connotation. So here the alumni, they're putting a lot of pressure, they're threatening the director. Okay, so either the director panders to them, that means gives in to their demands, or the director does not give in to their demands. So the question is saying which of the following reasons, if true, will best help the director not to worry about pandering to those alumni. Okay, now, I mean, understand the question very well, understand the concern. Okay, the alumni is putting a lot of pressure and the director does not give in to the alumni will pull back as recruiters, which will affect the school because alumni is very important for the school. So we have to give the director some reason that will help them not to worry about this threat coming from the alumni. Okay. Let's look at option 1. No business school in the region has allowed alumni any say in managing the operations. Okay, interesting. So always in BDM, understand what the option is implying. The option has been given to you for a reason. Of course, sometimes you'll have irrelevant options. But before eliminating an option, ask what is the option implying. So this option is implying that there is no precedent. Till now in the region, no business school has allowed alumni. Now put yourself in the director's shoes. If you have this piece of information will it help you not worry about giving to the alumni? Maybe to a certain extent, but it's not strong, right? Because till now you haven't had a situation, but that doesn't mean that the situation will not arise. It is happening right now with the director. Yes, till now no business school has allowed alumni, but the director now is in a very tight spot. And maybe the business schools, the other business schools in the region don't depend on the alumni so much. We don't know. We don't know anything about the other business schools. This current business school, ABC, heavily relies on the alumni. So the director has a real problem. Just because there is no precedent in the past will not help the director too much. This is not a very strong reason. Okay, so we'll eliminate it. ABC has not entertained any requests from the alumni till date. It is similar to one. We are now saying there is no precedent as far as ABC is concerned about entertaining requests from alumni. Fine, in the past we haven't had a situation like that. Okay, they haven't had a situation like that. Maybe the alumni till now were all very reasonable. But now in this year, the director is facing this issue. So just because this hasn't happened in the past doesn't mean it won't happen now. Alright, so again, just like one, this is not a strong reason for the director to not worry about the alumni. Okay, let's look at option 3. The alumni depend on ABC's success to enhance their employability. Understand this option. So they're saying alumni is dependent on ABC. See, till now we knew that ABC heavily relies on alumni. The alumni is very important for ABC. But this option is telling you the alumni is also dependent on ABC because they depend on ABC's success to enhance their own employability. They get the right kind of talent from ABC. So alumni, ABC is important for the alumni as well. So this is interesting. Excuse me. Till now, we knew that for alumni is very important for ABC. ABC depends on alumni. But now we come to know that the alumni also depends on ABC's success. So now it becomes a give and take relationship. It's a quid pro quo relationship. If the director knows this, the director will have some bargaining power in the argument. Because even if the director says no, let's say the alumni is threatening the director doesn't give in to their demands. Even then, the alumni might still come back and recruit from ABC. Why? Because the alumni depend on ABC to enhance their employability. It's a give and take relationship. The alumni is also benefiting from the relationship with ABC. So the director can say no and still be rest assured that, okay, fine, I'll say no, but they'll still have to come back because they don't really have another option. They also rely a lot on us. Okay, so this is where it becomes a quid pro quo relationship and the director can have bargaining power. All right, so let's park this. Let's go to 4. The alumni were the reason that ABC was able to attract corporates. Now, this option is enhancing the importance of alumni. Right? The alumni were the reason that ABC was able to attract corporates. Now, this is a problem. If this is true, that actually goes against the director. This will make the director worry even more. Because if the director doesn't pander to the alumni, the director will not only lose the alumni, they can lose the corporate relationships as well. So this is enhancing the power of alumni, which is not what we're looking for in this answer. Okay, this will not help the director. This will make the situation worse for the director. Some of the alumni were regularly teaching as guest faculty in the school. Okay, now this option is irrelevant. It has no connection with the situation that we are discussing. Okay, just because the alumni were regularly teaching as guest faculty in the school will not help the director in this situation. Okay, the director needs something that will help them enhance their own bargaining power, and 3 for that is perfect. Okay, so out of the 5 options, 3 is the correct one. All right. Okay. Let's go to question 2. Across the country, business schools were ranked by popular magazines. Okay. As it happens, a few business schools in the same region were applying for rankings, hoping that rankings will affect their visibility among corporate houses and recruiters. Okay. Same region as ABC, which is, I think, the Western region. That's what the set said. All right. So a few business schools, their peer business schools, are applying for rankings, hoping that the rankings will affect their visibility. As an awareness, more corporate houses and recruiters will become aware of them if they apply for these rankings, because these rankings are published in popular magazines. To achieve a good rank, ABC faculty members who have primarily focused on teaching thus far would need to actively engage in research and consulting activities. So this is important. If ABC applies for the ranking, to achieve a good rank, it will not only be teaching, but the rankings will also consider research and consulting activities, participation by faculties. The director was aware that asking the faculty to switch to research and consulting would not be easy. So again, this poor director has a problem, right? The director is considering applying for rankings. The rankings have a stress on faculty participation in research and consulting activities as well. And the director is aware that this is not going to be an easy sell to the faculties. Okay, so again, there is a dilemma. Which of the following facts will best help the director not to worry about applying for rankings? Again, read the question very carefully. That's very important in BDM. Make sure you pause and understand the question very well. Okay, you can rephrase it in your head if that helps. But understand the question. The question is saying a fact that will best help the director not to worry about applying for rankings. Okay, and now you put yourself in the director's shoes and try to solve the question. Okay. Your peer schools are applying for rankings, all right? All right, so there is pressure on you to apply. Then there is a research and consulting participation that is required by faculties. And as a director, you are aware that this is going to be tough to convince. Sorry, the writing is horrible. Tough to convince faculties. This is the problem that we have. So we have to give the director something so that they don't worry about applying for rankings. Now, why are these rankings? Why are these schools going for these rankings? Understand that. What is the objective? It clearly says it will affect their visibility among corporate houses and recruiters. Okay. So these rankings, the objective of these rankings is to increase visibility of the school. Visibility is nothing but awareness. Okay, it's like a branding initiative. Increase awareness of the school among corporate houses and recruiters. That's the objective. All right, keep that in mind. Okay, let's look at the options now. ABC's placements in the previous year were completed in 4 days. All right. Now, if the schools are trying to increase their awareness among corporate houses and recruiters, it is linked to placements, right? I mean, that's implied. They want to create awareness, and obviously that will help them enhance their placements. So now one is saying ABC's placements in the previous year were completed in 4 days. So that means this option shows that ABC has a good placement record. So if ABC already has a good placement record, does the director need to apply for rankings? Think about it. Okay, they are applying for rankings to increase visibility and enhance placements. One is saying ABC's placement record in the previous year, they were completed in 4 days. So they already have a good placement record. This can be a reason for the director to not worry about applying for rankings because the placement situation is good. All right, so we'll park it. All right, let's look at 2. ABC could never break into the top 40 ranks in the country when it applied earlier. Now understand why they've given this option. What's the implication of this? When they had applied earlier, they were not able to break into the top 40 ranks. And if you don't break into the top 40 ranks, what kind of visibility will you get? The magazine can publish top 100 schools. But if you're not in the top 10, 20, 30, then you won't get that visibility. So that's where this option is coming from. That they weren't able to get a good ranking. So maybe the director should not apply for it. But the problem in this option is it says when it applied earlier. We don't know when was this. This could have been 5 years ago. This could have been 10 years ago. We don't know. Right? And earlier they were not able to break into the top 40 ranks. That doesn't mean that if they apply for it now, they won't be able to break into it. Okay? So this option, understand the implication, but it's a weak option. This will not help the director to not worry because now the situation can change. And we don't know earlier is how long ago. All right? So we're going to remove this. The alumni are aware that ABC offers a retainable talent pool. Understand what this option is implying. Alumni, we know that is extremely important for ABC Business School. You can go back and check, and it's a good idea to go back and reference the set and pick relevant points. So we already know from the set that alumni are extremely important. This option says the alumni are aware that ABC offers a retainable talent pool, and majority of the placements come from alumni. Okay, they are already aware that ABC offers a retainable talent pool. Why are you going for rankings? The objective of rankings is you're trying to increase visibility or awareness. There is already awareness. Alumni are your major target as far as placements are concerned. They are already aware that ABC offers a retainable talent pool. The rankings objective is to increase visibility. This option is telling you they're already aware. So then why go for rankings? Okay, let's park it. Number 4, the alumni do not care for the teachers or classes in general. Okay, now this option, again, explore each option. They're saying the alumni do not care for teacher or classes in general. We're not really talking about classes or academics here. Okay, the only time teaching was referred or teachers were referred is they said that teachers have to be invested in research and consulting activities for the rankings to enhance. But alumni not caring for teachers or classes in general has no bearing to the problem that we're discussing. So this is irrelevant. We can ignore it. The alumni do not follow research publications in general. Okay, now where are research publications mentioned? Research publications are mentioned here that faculties will have to engage in research and consulting activities for the B schools ranking to go up. But why are we worried about alumni not following research publications? There can be a connection between alumni and rankings, okay, which are coming from research and consulting publications. But we don't need alumni to follow research publications. You get my point? So this is irrelevant. They're just trying to, the exam setter is just trying to confuse you here. But understand that research publications is mentioned in a different context, which has no direct connection with alumni. So 4 and 5 is gone. Now we're left with 1 and 3. This is typically going to happen in BDM. Go back to the question again. We have to choose a reason that will relieve the director of their worries. Well, not really relieve, but reduce the worry to the maximum extent. See, number 3 directly talks about the rankings objective. The rankings objective is to increase visibility or awareness. 3 is telling you there is already awareness. Okay, and hence the director doesn't need to go for rankings because alumni is their major target group and the alumni is already aware. So why should they focus on rankings? That's why 3 is the better option. Okay, 1 is attractive because it talks about the strong placement record. But 3 is the best answer because it directly is connected to the rankings objective. All right, that's why we're going for 3. It's a tricky one. Choosing between 1 and 3 is going to be trickier. But because 3 has a direct connection with the rankings objective, that's why it makes more sense. All right, okay, let's move on. A few faculty members complained to the director regarding the lack of attendance and seriousness among many students during classes and exams. All right. Okay. Now, when I read this, I was like, why are you surprised? They already knew this, right? In the set, it clearly says it attracts a specific segment of business school aspirants who wanted a solid job but were not excited about learning. It's already been the case. So when I read it, I was like, why are you surprised? Right. Okay. But the faculty members are complaining, which is a good thing. That's a teacher's job. So what are the faculty members complaining? Lack of attendance and seriousness among many students during classes and exams. The director knew that this had been the case for decades. That's implied in the set also. But became more rampant in the last few years. So the problem has worsened in the last few years. He was also aware that classes were mostly rituals conducted to tell the world that ABC believed in education and had little bearing on placements. Okay, it's a very sad state of affairs. As a teacher, obviously, I think it's a very sad state of affairs. However, he believed that students must be told to attend classes and take exams with serious attitude. So the director is aware, okay, that this has been going on, but the problem has worsened. However, the director believed that students must be told to attend classes and take exams with serious attitude. Okay, so the faculty are complaining about this, and the director does believe that, the situation needs to improve. Which of the following announcements by the director will best ensure that faculty stop complaining about student attendance? Now, this question is framed in a weird way. Ideally, it should have been framed like which of the following announcements by the director will best ensure that students take classes and exams seriously. But of course, they didn't give you a direct question. They said will best ensure that faculty stop complaining about student attendance. But think about it, the faculty will stop complaining when their concern has been addressed, which is when students start taking it seriously, when students' attendance improves, the faculty will stop complaining. Or there can be another weird way to make them stop complaining, we'll look at it. But understand the question. It's saying best ensure that the faculty stop complaining. Basically here you have to address their concern, which is around attendance and seriousness. Okay, let's look at it. Faculty members who make classes very engaging should be felicitated during the convocation. Again, before you eliminate an option, understand what is the option implying. If the faculties are felicitated, if the faculties who are making classes engaging are recognized, that will motivate the faculties to make the classes even more engaging. That's how it works, right? If you're recognized for something, then you're motivated to make it more engaging. But the thing is, the faculties can make it as engaging as they want. Will the students attend? Right? Why are we assuming that the lack of attendance and seriousness is because the faculties are not good? Maybe the students' attitude is like that. And it has been like that for decades. Right? And that's how the school's culture has been. So this puts the blame on faculties, which is not implied. Okay? Even if they make it engaging, we don't know if the students will attend. So this will not address the concern. Okay? This can't be the best option. Alright. Students should be asked to pay a monetary penalty for missing classes. Okay, great. So you enforce a monetary penalty, and therefore students then might be forced to attend classes because they know that if I miss classes I'll have to pay a monetary penalty. But here it's going to be like the students are forced to attend classes, right? And also, not only are you forcing them, you are also including or imposing financial hardship on them. Right? You're making them pay for missing classes. So not only are you forcing them, it's like a negative way of going about it. You're also imposing a financial penalty. Okay, but let's park it. This might work. Okay, but again, the students won't be happy about it. Excuse me. Students should be rewarded for contributing to in-class discussions and learning. All right. If they are rewarded for contributing, that's a great thing. But this doesn't solve the attendance issue. You're rewarding them for in-class discussions and learning, which is great. You're making them more interactive. But are you attracting them to class? If they don't come to class, this doesn't really work. So 3 doesn't really fix the attendance problem. Therefore, we'll remove it. Students who attend every class should be given thank you notes from the director. Alright, now think about it. You folks are students. Will this motivate you? Will this motivate you to attend classes? Not really. Most students are not going to be motivated to attend classes just for a thank you note. Students really don't care about these things, right? I mean, generally humans don't care about these things, unfortunately, but this is not going to work. Okay? This is not going to motivate students. Alright. Only students with at least 85% class attendance will participate in placements. Now, this is a very harsh option, especially if you look at it from a student perspective. Some of you might have looked at this option and might have instantly recoiled, saying this is unfair, this is harsh. Again, look at it. We have what are we answering? Which of the following announcements by the director will best ensure that faculty stop complaining? Okay, so put yourself in the director's shoes and put yourself in the student's shoes also. You can look at it that way as well. What are the students here for? What is the primary motivation of students of ABC? They are looking for a solid job. They are looking for placements. Everyone is focused on placements here. Everyone, and that we discussed in the set as well. The students are very, very placement focused. That is their reason for joining ABC. If the director makes an announcement saying that if you don't have 85% attendance, you won't be able to participate in placements, students will obviously attend. Or I should say, they are very, very likely to attend classes because they are here for placements. If the director tries to block that, they are very likely to come and attend the class. Okay. Again, now the question is, are they being forced to attend? Yes, they are being forced to attend here as well. But there is no monetary hardship here. The problem with 2 is you are imposing a monetary hardship. And there also, depending on the monetary penalty, let's say if the penalty is not very high and some students are able to afford it, they won't care. Okay, and if it's very high, then you're causing financial hardship on these students. Whereas 5, also you're forcing the students to attend, but there's no additional hardship that you're causing. I mean, they are supposed to attend schools. And also, you are taking away placements from them, which is the primary objective. So the chances of 5 working are much higher than 2. 2, you have some what ifs, depending on the amount of the penalty and all that. We don't know. But 5 is very likely to work because they are actually your replacements, right? So that's why the answer is 5. Some of you, as I said, might have recoiled, but extreme options can be correct. Okay, depending on the situation. So we can't say that, oh, this is too extreme, it won't work. No, always analyze the context. Okay, critically analyze it. In this case, this is definitely the best option. So don't just eliminate an option out of emotions, or you have to do your proper due diligence and critical reasoning, especially in BDM. Okay, all right. DeepSea is a natural gas extraction company that retrieves natural gas from rock formations beneath the seabed. Okay. This gas is then transported through its extensive pipeline network to a bottling plant located at the sea surface for processing. All right, so they extract the gas and they transfer it to the bottling plant, which is at the sea surface, and they're extracting it from rock formations beneath the seabed. So it has to go from the seabed to the sea surface. The gas in rock formations is pressurized, enabling it to flow to the surface and reach the bottling plant. Yet excessive pressure can cause bursts in the pipeline, leading to uncontrolled gas release known as blowout. Okay, so this is a big problem that can happen. So because the gas is pressurized and sent to the surface, if there is excessive pressure, it can result into a uncontrolled gas release, which they call a blowout, which will obviously be a problem. A blowout carries a staggering cost, encompassing not only environmental damage but also reputation loss and financial losses, totaling crores of rupees. Additionally, the impacted section of the pipeline requires a complete replacement. So see, the first part, of course, explains the process. Of course, it introduces the company DeepSea, right? Explains the process quickly about how gas is extracted and then it flows to the surface through pipelines to the bottling plant. But the main thing here is this blowout issue. Okay, this, if it happens, is a massive problem. Because it clearly says it carries a staggering cost, a massive cost. So it's not only environmental damage, which will obviously put the company in trouble, but also reputation loss and a huge financial loss. So blowout is a huge potential problem for DeepSea. Industry safety regulations divide the pipeline network into 3 levels. Level 3 is the part under the seabed. Level 2 is the part above the seabed, but in the deep sea, while level 1 is near the surface. Okay, so they have divided the pipeline network due to safety regulations, or other regulations have been divided based on 3 levels of the pipeline. So level 3 is the lowermost level, which is under the seabed. Level 2 is the part above the seabed, but in the deep sea, and level 1 is near the surface. Okay, and remember, the gas is extracted from rock formations beneath the seabed, and then it flows to the surface through pipelines. The safety regulations require multiple blowout preventer valves. All right. From now on, simply referred to as valves, to be placed at the 3 different levels of the pipeline network. Remember, blowout is a big problem. If a blowout happens, an uncontrolled gas release, that's going to be a big problem for the company. So they have to do everything possible. They have to implement all the safety regulations to prevent a blowout. And what this is saying is that the safety regulations require multiple blowout preventer valves. So these valves are designed to prevent a blowout, and from now on in the set they'll be referred to as valves, to be placed at 3 different levels of the pipeline network, L1, L2, L3. The valves are normally kept closed, but when the pressure in any part of the pipeline rises beyond a critical level, nearby valves are opened remotely to release the pressure in a controlled manner to prevent blowout. Remember, blowout is an uncontrolled gas release. Okay, so what this is saying is that they're normally closed because these are safety valves, right? So remember, these are safety valves. So normally they're kept closed, but only in case of emergencies, only when required, they are opened up. So what it's saying is when the pressure in any part of the pipeline rises beyond a critical level, nearby valves are opened to release the gas in a controlled manner, which will prevent blowout. Because if you don't open the valves, then the pressure will keep building up, eventually leading to a blowout. So these valves are opened up selectively in case if the pressure is rising, to release the gas in a controlled manner. The number of valves across the pipeline helps localize the pressure release, with a greater number of valves providing a backup mechanism, helping in improving pressure localization in case of a blowout. So of course valves are very important, so they also have backup mechanism in case valves fail. There are backup valves that can be used to improve the pressure localization and to prevent a blowout. Given that the valves themselves can occasionally malfunction and not release the pressure when needed, using a high number of valves ensures that a malfunctioning valve can seek the safety of a nearby functioning valve. So this is where it talks about how backup valves are important. Okay, valves are preventing a blowout. Valves can also malfunction. So in case if they malfunction, you need to have backup valves which will take over. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind as well. And this is an important point to keep in mind, that safety valves can also malfunction. Let's carry on. A valve can malfunction in two ways. It may fail to release pressure when needed, okay, which is the job of a valve. So it fails in its primary job and it doesn't release the pressure as previously mentioned, or it can leak gas during regular operation. So they can malfunction in two ways. One, it fails to function, which is obviously a big problem. But the second problem is it can also leak gas, right? Resulting in unwanted losses. Obviously, if there is gas leakage, that will cause losses to this company. When a valve malfunctions, it necessitates manual replacement. Okay. So if it malfunctions, it clearly says it will need a manual replacement. Okay, so remember the way in which the two ways in which can malfunction, and the fact that if it malfunctions, it has to be manually replaced. In the DeepSea network, 30% of the valves are located at level 3, okay, which is the deepest level. We know that, right, below seabed. The remaining valves, which is 70%, are evenly distributed between the top two levels. All right, we'll make a note of that. These valves are critical to ensuring safety and are exclusively supplied by GoValve. Now they're bringing in another company here. Okay, so make a note of that. These valves are critical to ensuring safety. We know that already, and are exclusively supplied by GoValve. This is an important point. A highly specialized manufacturer that holds a monopoly in the country's market. Okay, so this last paragraph is pretty critical because it introduces GoValve, right, which is an exclusive supplier to this company, to DeepSea, a supplier of valves, and it has a monopoly in the country's market. So we'll obviously make a note of that. Okay, there's quite a bit of detail. It's a lengthy set, right? It almost seems like a reading comprehension passage, but there are some important points, and of course, as you know, while you're reading the set, you should make a note of important points. Now, I'm not saying that you should make detailed notes because you won't have time in the exam, but definitely the most important critical notes, make a note of it, and keep making mental notes of all the other points. Okay, it's important. So keep talking to yourself while you're reading the set, rephrasing, understanding, articulating what the set is saying. All right. Okay, let's go to the questions now. Okay, let's look at question 1. GoValve has recently proposed a maintenance package for the valves to DeepSea, which includes a clause that whenever a valve at level 3 malfunctions, all valves at that level will be replaced. Now, GoValve is obviously, we know, that exclusive supplier of valves to the company. They're proposing a maintenance package, and it has a clause. It has a particular point in the package which says whenever a valve at level 3 malfunctions, all valves at that level will be replaced. That is the additional clause in their maintenance package. Okay, so if one valve at level 3 malfunctions, GoValve will replace all the valves there at level 3. Accepting the clause will cost a significant premium, obviously, right? Because GoValve is saying that even if one valve malfunctions at level 3, we'll replace all the valves. That means the company will have to pay the replacement cost for all the valves and not just one valve, right? So obviously it's going to cost a significant premium to DeepSea. The management of DeepSea have the following pieces of additional information under consideration. Okay, let's consider them. So they've given 5 points. This is a combination question, as you can see from the options. So in combination questions, after you've read till here, you should typically read what the question is asking and then evaluate the points accordingly. All right. So which of the following combinations of the above pieces of additional information will help the management of DeepSea the most in accepting the clause? So understand the question very carefully. That's very important in BDM. Which of the following pieces of additional information given above will help the management of DeepSea the most in accepting the clause? So now put yourself in the shoes of DeepSea and you have to accept this clause. And what is the clause? Focus on the clause. The clause says whenever a valve, even a single valve at level 3 malfunctions, all the valves on that level will be replaced. And remember, this will cost a significant premium to DeepSea, obviously. So this question is asking us to look for information that will help us in accepting the clause. Remember that. So we're going to go in favor of the clause and put yourself in the shoes of DeepSea. Now in combination questions, right, I always say this. See, if you start evaluating each point individually, it can get very tricky. These combination questions can get very tricky that way because these points can be close. So when you're evaluating these points in the first round, look for an extreme right or extreme wrong option. So look for extremes. Either it can be extremely right or it can be extremely wrong. If you can pick that one and if you're confident of it, then it can help you to eliminate options quickly. Okay, so let me demonstrate that. So here we're talking about most in accepting the clause. So extremely right will be a point which is very clearly going to help DeepSea accept the clause. Extremely wrong will be a point that will not help DeepSea in accepting the clause. So it can even be reject. It can be a point which will cause DeepSea to reject the clause, or it can be a point which is very unrelated to the discussion. Okay, so that would be extremely wrong. So we'll be on the lookout for extreme right and extreme wrong options in the first round of evaluation. All right, so let's evaluate the points and look for extreme options. The walls are known to be prone to malfunction. Okay. Now, if this was the piece of information given to DeepSea, that the walls are known to be prone to malfunction, you'll obviously want them to be replaced. If they're prone to malfunction, that means they malfunction on a regular basis. So that means replacement is good. Okay, and that's what the clause is telling you, that if one wall goes wrong, we'll replace all the walls in level 3. So if the walls are prone to malfunction, replacement is a good thing. Okay, so this point can act in support of the clause, which is what we're looking for. But is it extremely right? Not really. Okay, it can be it looks like it's a point in favor of the clause, but it's not very extremely right. It's not standing out. So let's go to the next one. Any malfunction in one valve often results in leakage from the neighboring valves. Now understand this. Okay, this is like a domino effect. One valve goes wrong. What this point is saying, if there is a malfunction in one valve, it will result in leakage from other neighboring valves as well. So one malfunction will cause other malfunctions. Now, this is the situation. This clause is great, right? Because this clause is saying whenever one valve mentions, we'll replace all the other valves. And this point is telling you that if a valve malfunctions, it's quite likely that it will cause other valves to malfunction as well. So this point is fantastic. The clause is fantastic if you consider this point. So it's very much aligned to this clause. So this is one of those seems to be one of those extremely right options. Okay, so let's mark that. Let's see if there are other extremely right or extremely wrong. All right, let's look at C. GoVolve is ready to negotiate a discount if the clause is accepted. Now, think about it. So we are looking for reasons to accept the clause, right? Now here it's saying that if the clause is accepted, GoVolve is ready to negotiate a discount. All right. Now think about this. This may seem like a very attractive option, right? But if they're accepting the clause, it's anyway going to cause a significant premium. All right. So it is going to be additional cost for the company. Even if they get a discount, will it be an attractive offer? We don't know. Right? So can this be a reason? Can discount be a reason in this case for the company to accept the clause? Think about it, because it's a very big premium and we don't know the quantity of discount. So we don't know, right? So let's move on. Replacing the valves at level 3 is a very difficult job, which is best done by GoVolve. Okay, so replacement at level 3 is very difficult and it's best done by GoVolve. So then the company should stick to GoVolve. If they are the best sort of company or best entity to do this, then we should stick to it. So it seems to be in favor of the clause, but again, it's not very extreme. It's not extreme right or wrong. The chances of pressure buildups are higher near the seabed. Okay, now this is talking about higher near the seabed. We are talking about level 3, which is below the seabed. So is this connected? Doesn't look like it. Okay, the chance of pressure buildups are higher near the seabed. That means the chance of a blowout are higher near the seabed. But we're not talking, in this question, we're not talking about level 1 or near the seabed. We're talking about level 3, which is below the seabed. So this looks like something which is extremely wrong. And this looks like something which is extremely right. Okay, now keep that in mind. Now let's use this intelligence that we have to eliminate options. This we can be very confident, okay, because of the domino effect that this would be a right option. So let's look for options that have B. This doesn't have B. So this can be eliminated. This has B, so we'll park this. This has B, we'll park this. This also has B, we'll park this. This doesn't have B, we can eliminate it. Okay, this is the first check. We're not just going with this. We also have E, which is quite likely wrong, right? That's because it's not connected to level 3, it's connected to level 1. So let's eliminate answers that have E, right? Because it's the wrong. So we shouldn't accept an answer which has E because it's not aligned to accepting the clause. Now out of the 3 remaining, 2, 3 and 4, this one has E. So we can safely eliminate this as well. Now we're left with 2 and 3. Okay, and again, I'm saying we should do this only when you're able to spot extreme right or extreme wrong options. Now let's look at this. A, B and D, B, C and D. So B is common, we've already evaluated this. D is also common. Okay, so D, we don't really have to worry about it, but we'll evaluate it at the end. The tussle is between A and C. Now let's go and evaluate that. Okay, A says the walls are known to be prone to malfunction. If they are prone to malfunction, they will need replacement. So this is a good reason for the company to accept the clause. C says GoVolve is ready to negotiate a discount if the clause is accepted. As we discussed, this can't be a reason for them to accept the clause. Accepting the clause is going to incur them a huge cost. So that discount is not going to make a difference. We don't even know the value of the discount, right? So this can't be a reason for them to accept the clause. So between 2 and 3, A is much stronger than C. So therefore, this looks like the answer. We'll quickly evaluate D as well. Replacing the walls at level 3 is a very difficult job, which is best done by GoVolve. If this is the case, then you should stick to GoVolve and accept their clause, right? Therefore, the answer is A, B and D. Okay, so this is a strategic way of solving these combination questions. Again, I'm recapping. Look for the extreme right or extreme wrong options. Use that for elimination and then make sure whichever answer you're picking, evaluate all those points, right? You can't just solely go according to the extreme strategy. You have to evaluate all the points at the end. But in this case, the answer is A, B and D. Okay, awesome. Let's go to question 2. A startup, SafeWall, has started importing a technologically superior brand of walls from abroad, which boasts a significant reduction in gas leakage. Okay, so this is a new company called SafeWall, and they're introducing a new line of walls, and their sort of USP or their advantage is that they are promising a significant reduction in gas leakage. Now, from the set, you will remember, and you can quickly go back and see that the walls have 2 problems. They can malfunction in 2 ways. Okay, let's look at that. Yeah, here we go, 3rd paragraph. So in 2 ways, it may fail to release pressure, so it's not functioning, or it can cause gas leakage. So gas leakage is a problem, potential problem with walls. And what this new company, SafeWall, was saying that they boast a significant reduction in gas leakage. Okay, so they are trying to address one of the problems that is there with walls, and significant reduction in gas leakage is great. Okay, SafeWall has established a large inventory of these imported walls, but is struggling to gain foothold in the local market. An NGO working for the protection of marine lives has appealed to DeepSea to replace their existing walls with the product from SafeWall. Right. So now, because this product is known to be superior in the sense that it will reduce gas leakage, the NGO has appealed, because an NGO is working for the protection of marine lives, and obviously gas leakage will cause problems for marine lives. So therefore, this NGO has appealed to DeepSea to replace their existing walls, which is GoVolves, with SafeWalls. Okay. However, the installation of this new wall will require substantial modification in the pipeline, entailing unknown challenges in installation and maintenance. Okay, so the NGO is appealing, or you can say that, okay, I'm just going to say appeal, but they're kind of putting pressure, right? But the problem is for the company that if they go with the new valve, it's going to entail unknown challenges in installation and maintenance. So it's not going to be an easy task to install, replace these valves, and then maintain them as well. So let's look at the question. Which of the following reasons, if true, can DeepSea best cite to publicly reject the appeal? Read the question very carefully and read each and every word. We want DeepSea to publicly reject the appeal, okay? And you have to read each and every word. Remember this, it clearly says publicly rejected, okay? So we have to give a reason to DeepSea that they can use to publicly reject this appeal. And what is this appeal? The NGO has appealed that DeepSea move from GoVolves to SafeWalls. right? Because it's good, it will prevent leakage and it's good for marine life protection. Okay, so we have to look for a reason which will help DeepSea publicly reject this appeal. Okay, and the appeal, remember, is to move from go walls to SafeWalls. So we have to look for a reason which will potentially go against SafeWall, right? Because the appeal says implement SafeWalls. If we look for a reason that goes against SafeWalls, then we'll be able to reject that appeal, okay, and publicly reject it. Let's look at the options. Number one, SafeWall depends exclusively on imports and may be prone to procurement issues. Now see, this is a minus point for SafeWall, which is good, which is what we're looking for. We are looking for a minus point for SafeWall. And it says SafeWall depends exclusively on imports and may be prone to procurement issues. Okay, but think about it. This is a minus for SafeWall, but will this help DeepSea to publicly reject the appeal? The NGO is appealing to save marine lives and move to these walls because it will help us save marine lives. Will the public be satisfied with this? If they publicly come and say, oh, we're rejecting SafeWalls because they have procurement issues, is this strong enough for the public to be okay with this? Think about it. This is a negative for SafeWall, but it won't help them publicly reject it because the public can still question the company that, oh, just because of procurement issues, you're not prioritizing marine lives. This is good for marine lives, right? Shifting to SafeWalls is good. So just because of procurement issues, you're saying that we won't go with SafeWall and you're impacting marine lives. The public won't be happy with it. Okay. So in spite of being a negative point for SafeWall, it's not strong enough for the company to use this to publicly reject it. Okay. All right. Let's go on. Let's move on. GoWall was a reputed brand and had a partnership with DeepSea for a long time. Now, this is a positive for potential positive for GoWall, which is also good. So we can reject it in two ways. Either we look for a minus of SafeWall or we look for a plus for GoWall. GoWall is a reputed brand and had a partnership with DeepSea for a long time. Now, think about it again. If they go and say this publicly, is this enough for them to reject SafeWall and not prioritize marine lives? No. The public is not going to be happy with it. The public will be, so what? Fine, it's a reputed brand. You've had a long partnership, but SafeWall is helping us to protect marine lives. So you should prioritize that. The public won't be satisfied with this. Okay, let's go to number 3. GoWall follows the strictest global industry standards of leakage prevention. Now, this is again a positive for GoWall, and it's a positive which is linked to leakage prevention. Okay, remember SafeWall is boasting a significant reduction in gas leakage, right? The NGO is appealing to move to SafeWall so that the gas leakage can reduce and marine lives can be protected. But if we are saying that GoWall already follows the strictest global industry standards of leakage prevention, this is good. Right? That means the problem of leakage prevention that SafeWall is promising to solve, GoWall has already taken care of that to a large extent. They're already following global industry standards for strict global industry standards for leakage prevention. Okay, so this can be a good reason to reject the appeal, saying we're using GoWall and they already have high standards of leakage prevention. Let's park this, and this will potentially satisfy the public as well. Let's look at 4. Only some developed countries have mandated the use of the new walls. Again, this is very lukewarm. Just because only some developed countries have done it, that is not reason enough for DeepSea to reject it. Okay, so the public is not going to be happy about this. The new walls cost twice as much as the existing walls. This will never go down well with the public because the company is saying we cannot go with SafeWalls because it increases our cost. So the public will be like, okay, so you're prioritizing your profits over marine lives, right? So the public won't be happy about it. The only reason, or the only reason that can potentially make the public satisfied is number 3, right? If they already have strict standards of leakage prevention, then that's good enough, or that might be good enough for the public. So it is the best reason that they can give to publicly reject the appeal. In this question, the word publicly is very important. So in BDM questions, make sure to read the questions very carefully and make note of important words. Let's look at question 3. A startup, SafeWall, has started importing a technologically superior brand of walls from abroad, which boasts a significant reduction in gas leakage. Okay, this is the same sentence as before. An update to industry safety regulations has come out which allows a roll number of valves in a pipeline network if technologically superior valves similar to those imported by SafeWall are used for the entire network. Okay, so this is additional information. Seems very important. What the safety regulations are saying is that now DeepSea can potentially use lower number of valves in their pipeline network than before, provided if they shift to SafeWall, and this is because SafeWall is technologically superior. Okay, so that's an update to the safety regulations. So DeepSea can actually do that, can switch to SafeWall and use a low number of valves. DeepSea is aware that the more the number of valves, the better is DeepSea's ability to contain blowouts. Now this is also important. They are already aware of this. Okay, so more number of valves are beneficial because it helps DeepSea to contain blowouts better. Okay, the number of valves. However, a high number of valves increases the chance of a leakage. Alright, so there's a disadvantage to that as well. While a high number of valves can improve their ability to contain blowouts, it also increases the chance of a leakage. So there is a plus and a minus there. Therefore, DeepSea is contemplating a proposal to reduce the number of valves to almost half. Okay, that's a big reduction, by replacing the existing valves by GoValve with the valves sold by SafeWall. Now, again, there's quite a bit of additional information here, but I think it's important to make a note that if you have more number of valves, okay, the plus is prevention of blowouts. Right? Their ability increases if they have more number of valves to prevent blowouts. But the minus is leakage. Okay? The more number of valves, the more the chances of leakage. So there is a plus and a minus here to having more number of valves. Let's keep that in mind. And they are contemplating a proposal to reduce the number of valves by almost half. Okay. A team tasked with evaluating the proposal has made some observations listed below. Remember, the proposal is to reduce. Okay, that should be very clear because that's what we have to evaluate, right? So the proposal is to reduce the number of valves. My writing is horrible, so just ignore that. But a team tasked with evaluating the proposal has made some observations listed below. Which of the following observations is the most helpful in rejecting the proposal? There are multiple layers here. The proposal is working towards reducing the valves, right? So we have the proposal here. Let's just write it down. The proposal is in favor of reducing the valves, right? Or we can also say is in favor of going with safe valves. Okay, that's the proposal. But the question is saying which of the following observations is most helpful in rejecting the proposal. So we have to go against the proposal. Right? So keep that in mind. Alright, let's look at it. Number one, there's no clear industry standard for the minimum number of valves required at a certain level. Alright, now we are trying to reject a proposal which is the team that has created the proposal. The proposal is advising, okay, let's take it that way. The proposal is suggesting to DeepSea that they should cut their valves by almost half. We have to reject this proposal. Now, if we get this information that there's no clear industry standard for the minimum number of valves required at a certain level, how does this help us in rejecting this proposal? It doesn't. It won't do anything. This option simply says we don't have a clear industry standard for the minimum number of valves. Still, the team that is giving the proposals can say, okay, fine, we don't have a standard. Let's reduce the valves by half because this is good for leakage prevention. The fact that we don't have a clear industry standard here for minimum number of valves has no bearing on the proposal. So this we can eliminate. If a GoValve valve is open to prevent a blowout, the chance of leakage from the valves within a certain distance increases. Now think about it. They are talking about GoValve. This proposal is in favor of safe valves. Alright. So it says if a valve is open to prevent a blowout, the chance of leakage from the valves within a certain distance increases. So this is a negative for valve. Isn't it? If it's a negative for valve, that means you're aligning with the proposal. The proposal is saying switch to safe valve.
And this point is presenting a negative for go valve. So this will help you accept the proposal, not reject. So this is the opposite. This is not what we're looking for. Okay, because it's support of go valve. All right, let's look at number 3. The superiority of the SafeWall products is only in terms of preventing leakage, not blowouts. Nice. Now here, what is it saying? That the superiority is limited to leakage, which is a plus, but not blowouts, which is a significant minus. And this is a minus for plus and minus for SafeWall. So superiority is limited to preventing leakage. The superiority is not in terms of preventing blowouts. So there is a plus and minus, and the minus is quite significant because blowouts are very important. Now, if this information comes out, this can help DeepSea to reject the proposal because the proposal is favoring SafeWalls. So the DeepSea management can say, but no, the superiority is not in terms of preventing blowouts, hence we're rejecting the proposal. This is a good reason. Let's park it. Let's look at option 4. At level 1, the chance of a pressure rise is much lesser compared to the other 2 levels. And now, if it's saying the chance of a pressure rise is much lesser, that means the chance of a blowout is much lesser. You can go back to the set and check. A blowout happens when there's an uncontrolled release of gas, when the pressure rises beyond a critical level. So this option is actually diminishing the risk of a blowout, is lowering the risk of a blowout. Okay, because the chance of a pressure rise is much lesser. Now, if the risk of a blowout is going down, then you probably don't need as many valves. Valves are there to protect you from a blowout. If the risk of blowout is going down, then you can potentially reduce the number of valves, which aligns with the proposal. Remember the proposal, there are 2 parts here, right? The proposal is suggesting that you cut down the valves by half, and it's also favoring safe valves. But here, if the risk is going down, then it's okay to cut down, potentially okay to cut down the number of valves. So this actually aligns with the proposal, but will not help you in rejecting it. Let's look at option 5. At level 3, a blowout results in more time consuming and expensive repairs compared to the other 2 levels. Now consider this option. See, while 4 was reducing the risk of a blowout, 5 is doing the converse. 5 is telling you that a blowout at level 3 can be quite dangerous. Okay, because if it results in level 3, it's going to be more time consuming and expensive repairs compared to the other 2 levels. So this is, you can say that it's highlighting the danger of a blowout or increasing the danger of a blowout, right? Now, if the danger of a blowout or the risk of blowout is increasing, that means it implies that you need more safety valves. Think about it, okay? You can reduce safety valves when the danger has gone down, when the risk has gone down. If the danger is still there or if the danger increases, you will need more safety valves. Okay, it's a very tricky question. Okay, but what this option is doing is it is causing the danger to go up of a blowout. And hence, because the danger is going up, the risk is going up, you will need more safety valves, which goes against this proposal. This proposal is talking about reducing the valves, but if the danger is going up, you'll have to increase it. So therefore, it goes against it. Okay, it's a very tricky option, but we'll have to park this as well. Now we're stuck between 3 and 5. Okay, it's an extremely tricky question. Remember, we have to pick an observation will be most helpful in rejecting the proposal. Now between 3 and 5 wins over 3, and I'll tell you why. In 3, you have a plus and a minus for SafeWall. On one side, you're saying that yes, that the superiority is not in terms of preventing blowouts, which is a minus for SafeWall as compared to GoWall. But you're also including the point where it says it helps in preventing leakage, it's superior in preventing leakage. So there's both a plus and a minus for SafeWall, whereas in 5, you're increasing the risk and danger of a blowout, which clearly tells you that you cannot reduce the number of valves. Okay, so between 3 and 5 is a stronger point which will help the team reject the proposal. Okay. All right, very, very tricky question. I think one of the trickiest BDM questions in XAT 24. And out of the set, definitely. I mean, this is a question that if you're not sure in the exam, you should not take chances and leave such kind of questions. All right, let's discuss the set which is about Vinita Lama. Miss Vinita Lama, respected figure in the small town of Jampur, found herself stranded on the road once again when an old small hatchback car broke down. Okay, so keep making a note of important details. I mean, of course, we know the name. It says she was a respected figure in the small town of Jampur, and she found herself stranded once again. Now, this could be important later on. This has happened to her before as well. So it's happening once again. She's stranded because her old car, hatchback car, has broken down. Finding herself alone on the deserted road with no one to help, Vinita in desperation called Shyam Sehgal. Okay, this is another person that's being introduced. The general manager of Balaji Motors, the only dealership in Jampur that sells Diplomatico cars, the brand that Vinita drives. Okay, all right. So she needs help. Her car has broken down, so she calls the general manager of Balaji Motors. Vinita knew Shyam from a frequent visits for getting a hatchback car serviced. So she knew him. Surprisingly, he arrived within 15 minutes, accompanied by a mechanic from his dealership. So he was very helpful. He arrived quickly to help her. Further, he arranged for the vehicle to be towed and kindly offered Vinita a ride home. So clearly, I mean, Shyam has done a good job here, not only helping her but also giving her a ride home. On the way back, he advised Vinita to exchange her old car with the new sports utility vehicle SUV on a good discount from his dealership. Sorry. He assured her that he would add several additional services to ensure her SUV remained in excellent condition for many years ahead. Okay, so Shyam Sehgal, of course, he's helping out, but he's also an astute salesman. This is the right time her car is broken down, so he's made a sales pitch for a new SUV to Vinita, and he's offered her a good discount and also additional services to ensure that the SUV remains in excellent condition. Okay, fantastic. So again, there could be some important points that might come in handy later on. So we've underlined that. Do make a mental note of it, and if the points are very, very critical, you can make a written note of that as well. That will help you later in solving questions. Okay, right, now let's look at the questions. Due to her old car's frequent breakdowns, Vinita decided it was time to replace it. All right, she was afraid whether buying a Diplomatico SUV from Balaji Motors, as suggested by Shyam, will be a right decision for her. Okay, so clearly Shyam pitched a SUV, and Diplomatico was the brand that Vinita already had, right? And now the SUV that is being pitched by Shyam is also Diplomatico. So it's the same brand, just an upgrade from a hatchback to SUV, right? So Vinita wants to replace the car because her car is having frequent breakdowns, but she's unsure about this decision of buying a Diplomatico SUV from Balaji Motors, as suggested by Shyam. Which of the following pieces of additional information will help her the most in taking the right decision? Again, as I keep saying, it's very important for you to pause. First of all, read the question very carefully. Read each and every word. Process it. Take a few seconds. Pause for a few seconds and understand the question very well and then answer it. Okay. So here it's saying will help her the most in taking the right decision. Okay. The decision is not mentioned. They're not saying that she should accept or reject. Right decision. So we have to put yourself in Vinita's shoes. What pieces of additional information will help you to take the right decision? And what is the decision? The decision is whether you as Vinita should buy a Diplomatico SUV from Balaji Motors or not. That's the decision that Vinita has to make. And we have to figure out an additional piece of information that will help her in making that decision. Okay, let's look at it. Number 1 says new dealership of Panther Motors, the highest selling car brand in the country, is about to come to the town soon. Okay, now this sometimes option might seem irrelevant, but don't just reject them straight away. Understand what is the implication in this option. See, this is talking about a totally new dealership. Okay, and it's saying a new dealership of Panther Motors, the highest selling car brand in the country, is about to come to the town soon. So the potential implication in this statement is that should Vinita wait, because it's a highest selling car brand, okay, that's coming to the town, should she wait for this before making a decision, or should she not buy Diplomatico SUV but go to Panther Motors because that's the highest selling car brand? That's the implication. Okay, so we have to help Vinita take the decision. The decision is whether she should buy this or not. Okay, this is not connected to the decision at all. Okay, yes, it is proposing a new alternative, but here we don't even know whether that new alternative is an SUV, right? We don't know, right? It just says highest selling car brand, so it's very vague. We don't even know whether it's an SUV that's positioned as an alternative. So this information is not going to help her take this decision. She needs something related to Diplomatico or Balaji Motors to take the right decision, whether she should go for it or not. This information is indeed irrelevant. Okay, so we will eliminate it. Now, number 2, it says in Jampur's SUVs have a 6-month waiting period. However, one red colored Diplomatico SUV, not her favorite color, is available at Balaji Motors. Now, option 2 as opposed to 1 is connected to the situation at hand, because they are talking about Diplomatico SUV and it's also saying it's available at Balaji Motors. Okay, so the question here is, will this information help her take this decision? Right? It's saying that it has a 6-month waiting period. However, one red colored Diplomatico is available that she can potentially buy right away. She is afraid of making this decision. Think about it. Why is Vinita afraid? Think about it. Potentially she's afraid because she bought a Diplomatico hatchback and she had recurring problems with that car. So that's why she's not sure. She's not sure whether she should buy the same brand SUV and from the same dealership. Just because a red colored Diplomatico SUV is available at Balaji Motors readily, it doesn't help her in decision making at all. Right? She has a concern. This option is not addressing that concern. Okay? So therefore, we will eliminate this. Her brother, an SUV enthusiast staying in a metro city, has advised her to stay away from Diplomatico cars. Okay, interesting. So again, just to recap, she is concerned about this decision. So her concern can be around multiple reasons, right? One, it's the same brand. I've had issues with that brand. It's the same dealership. I've had issues with this dealership. So that's why she's concerned. Now here this option says her brother, an SUV enthusiast, okay, who knows about SUVs, who's into SUVs, has advised her to stay away from Diplomatico cars. Can this help her in decision making? This could, right? Number 1, it's her brother. So it's a source that she would trust. Okay? Or the chances of trusting that source are higher. And also this brother knows about SUVs and has clearly advised her to stay away from Diplomatico cars. So this can help her in making that decision and saying that, okay, I will not buy that Diplomatico SUV because my brother is saying to stay away from Diplomatico cars. So this could help her in that decision making or making the right decision. Let's park this. Number 4, Jampur, being an old city with congested roads, has a parking problem in many areas. Okay. Now again, the implication here is SUV is a bigger vehicle. So if it has a parking problem, right, buying an SUV might be an issue. There might be an issue with parking, right? I mean, it has a parking problem generally. SUV will take more space, so that problem can be aggravated for Vinita. But again, think about it. Vinita is concerned about buying a Diplomatico SUV. So the concern is around the brand and the dealership. This option is simply saying it's an old city that has a parking problem. That parking problem has always been there. That parking problem would be there for a hatchback as well. Of course, it will be more for the SUV, but it's going to apply to all cars. And it is not related to the brand and dealership in question. Hence, this information is not very relevant for this concern. Number 5, she has no idea which SUV to choose and she feels that all the SUVs are the same. We need something to help her in making the right decision. How does this help her in making the right decision? This actually makes it even more complicated or problematic for her. She has no idea, no awareness about SUVs. So her decision making becomes even more difficult. It doesn't help her at all. We are looking for an option that will help her in most taking the right decision, and hence the answer is 3. Trusted source and also related to Diplomatico, the brand that she wants to purchase. Alright, perfect. Let's look at, so this question I would say is going by the difficulty, general difficulty of BDM questions. This question is a manageable question, right? So definitely read the question carefully, evaluate all the options carefully, and you should be able to solve these questions in the exam. Let's look at question 2. Shyam's satisfaction from meeting the month's quota for selling SUVs turned to dismay when one of his young executives nervously told him that he mistakenly punched an extended warranty for free to Vinita's purchase contract earlier this morning. Okay, so Shyam was very happy about meeting his month's quota, but then he realized that one of his teammates, one of his reports, had made a mistake by giving away an extended warranty for free to Vinita's purchase earlier contract. So this would affect his quota, so that's why he was frustrated, sad, or annoyed about it. This could not be reversed from the company system. Okay, so that's a big problem because it's clearly saying that this could not be reversed, and meant a loss of rupees 19,000 for the dealership. Okay, so this will obviously affect his quota achievement. The executive was very sorry and was ready to take accountability. However, the amount was too large to be borne by the executive. All right. So the executive was very apologetic, right? This young, poor executive. And he was ready to take responsibility, but 19,000 was too large an amount to be borne by the executive, right? I mean, the company can decide saying, you made the mistake, so we'll cut this for your salary. But the set is clearly saying that that amount was too big to be borne by the executive. And also an important detail here is that this could not be reversed from the company system. That can be important later on. Shyam was not concerned about placing accountability, okay, but rather the recovery of the loss. All right, so he was not worried about playing the blame game or holding somebody responsible. He was most concerned about the recovery of the loss. How do we recover this 19,000 loss that has been incurred for the company? He was unsure whether he should ask Vinita for the money. All right, okay. So it's a tricky situation. Somebody from the company has made a mistake, right? Punched in an additional 19,000 of the warranty. Shyam wants to recover this loss. One way is to ask Vinita for the money, but Shyam is unsure whether he should ask Vinita for the money. The following pieces of information are available to Shyam. Okay, so as you can see from the type of the question, this is a combination question. So in combination questions, you've read this, you can see that there are 5 pieces of additional information. Read the question first and then go back to evaluating the points. Alright, so because once you've read the question, it will help you to evaluate the points accordingly. Okay, so which of the following combinations of the above pieces of information will most likely stop Shyam from trying to recover the money from Vinita? Again, make a note of the question very carefully. Put yourself in Shyam's shoes. There are pieces of additional information available to you. Which of the combination of these above statements will most likely stop you as Shyam from trying to recover the money from Vinita? Shyam is considering that. Shyam is unsure. So he's like, should I recover? Should I ask Vinita for the money or should I not ask? So the question is saying, which of the following statements or combinations will stop Shyam from trying to recover the money from Vinita? So either Shyam has to look for an alternative or inform the company, but the question is saying, Shyam should not recover the money from Vinita, but which of the following piece of information will help him to make that decision? Remember, he's unsure about it. Okay, let's now look at the options. Again, now I've said this in a previous video as well, but when you're looking at combination questions, if you start evaluating each points individually, these questions can get very tricky. So what you should do is, the first round of evaluation that you do of these points, look for extreme options. So look for a point that's extremely right or look for a point that's extremely wrong. If you're able to spot a point like that, which is extremely right or wrong, then you're sure of that point either being a part of the answer or not being a part of the answer, then it will help you eliminate out of those 5 options that are given to you. Okay, so the first round of evaluation, look for extreme options. Let's consider that. A. Shyam is aware that Vinita is very happy with the deal he gave her for the car. Okay, so Shyam is aware that Vinita is very happy. Think about it. Can this information stop him from trying to recover the money from Vinita? Or on the other hand, so that means we're saying, is this extremely right or extremely wrong? Doesn't look like it. He's aware that Vinita is very happy with the deal that he gave her for the car. So, you might think that, oh, if he goes to Vinita and asks for the money, she's very happy right now, she could get annoyed. Or alternatively, she's very happy, and because she's very happy, she can decide to give him that extra 19,000 as well because she's very happy with the car. But we don't know, right? There are lots of ifs and buts here. We're looking for an extreme right or an extreme wrong option. In the first round, we're not sure where A would go. So we're going to leave that for now. We'll look for the extreme right or extreme wrong. Number 2 or B. Shyam feels that Diplomatica's software system is complicated for new employees, which might have also played a role in the error. Okay. So can this point stop Shyam from trying to recover the money from Vinita? Now the implication in this point could be that if Diplomatica's software system is complicated, okay, then the error that was made by the young executive is understandable and potentially Shyam can build a case in front of the company management saying the system is very complicated, that's why the error was made, I think that 19,000 should be forgiven. But the problem with this option is the set clearly says that the error cannot be reversed. So even if it is a complicated system, right, that information might not help Shyam too much in this case. Again, we don't have an extreme option here, so we'll move on. Vinita has a wide network and can connect Shyam with many potential customers. Think about this point. So they are saying that Vinita is influential, and also the set said that Vinita was a respected person in the small town of Jampur. So if Vinita has a wide network and can connect Shyam with many potential customers, that means Shyam can't afford to annoy Vinita. Because if Vinita gets annoyed, then Shyam can lose not only Vinita's business, but also referral business that's probably coming from Vinita. Can this information stop Shyam from trying to recover the money from Vinita? This looks like a good option. Because Shyam wouldn't want to annoy Vinita in this case because of her contacts, right? So this information, and especially if you look at it from a salesman's point of view, this information can help Shyam saying, okay, I should not bother Vinita. I can't afford to annoy her or impose an extra 19,000 on her. I need to be in her good books for the business, right? Now, this is a pretty strong option, right? That's kind of like telling us that, most likely this is a part of the answer. So let's park it. Let's look at D. Vinita's brother, a car enthusiast, has enough knowledge of how car dealers operate. Okay? So this point is saying that Shyam knows this. Shyam knows that Vinita's brother has enough knowledge of how car dealers operate. Would this stop Shyam from trying to recover the money from Vinita? Think about it. Shyam knows that, okay, Vinita's brother knows about how car dealers operate. But again, think about it. Is this an extremely right option? Is this a very relevant piece of information that would stop Shyam from trying to recover the money from Vinita? No. We're looking for extreme options right now. D doesn't fit that bill. Okay, let's go to E. Shyam feels that if he maintains the current sales volume, he might be able to persuade Diplomatico to write off the amount 19,000. Okay, understand this option. So he's doing well. He's happy about his sales quota achievement so far in the month. So if he maintains the current sales volume, he might be able to persuade Diplomatico to write off the amount. If he's able to persuade, see, the system cannot be reversed. That is very clear. But he can persuade, he can use his interpersonal skills, he can showcase his sales target achievement and persuade the management to write off the amount of 19,000. And if management does that, then he doesn't need to go to Vinita. So can this information help him from, prevent him from trying to recover the money? Potentially, yes. This is also seems like a strong option. Okay, so we'll park this. C definitely seems more stronger. So let's look at C and try to eliminate options using C. We're quite sure in this case that C will be a part of the answer because of Vinita's influence. So let's eliminate options that don't have C, right? This doesn't have C, this doesn't have C, this doesn't have C. So very unlikely to be the correct answer. Now we're left with C and D and C and E. So you just have to evaluate D and E. Okay, let's look at D. Vinita's brother, a car enthusiast. Again, we were iffy about this. Right? I mean, we can extrapolate it and say that, oh, Vinita's brother has knowledge, so that can potentially stop Shyam because Vinita will get that knowledge from his brother saying that, oh, this is how car dealers operate, it must be a mistake, they'll take care of it, don't pay this money. But we're extrapolating too much, right? But E, if you look at it, if he's able to write off that money, then he doesn't need to go to Vinita, right? So therefore, E is much stronger than D, and the answer is indeed C and E. Okay. All right. So again, in combination questions, remember that look for the extremely right or extremely wrong options. In this case, we went with the extremely right. Sometimes you can have an option which is clearly wrong, and that can also help you eliminate, because you can eliminate those options which contain that wrong option, right? So try that approach. It helps with a lot of combination questions. Okay. All right. Let's look at question 3. 3 months passed. While returning from a friend's house, Vinita's new SUV was hit by another car. Okay, so Vinita's clearly having a bad bout of bad luck with cars. But in this case, it wasn't a breakdown. New SUV was hit by another car. Fortunately, she was not injured, but the SUV was badly damaged. Okay. Surprisingly, when Vinita took the car for repairs to Balaji Motors, she was told that the repairs would not cost her anything, as the extended warranty on her car covered such accidents. Very interesting. So now, of course, it has progressed. So it says surprisingly. That means it implies that Vinita did not know about the extended warranty. Okay. And, but in this case, it really helped her, right? So it was kind of like a stroke of luck, stroke of bad luck and a stroke of good luck. Vinita could not recall purchasing such a warranty. Hence, she contacted Shyam. Shyam informed her that the extended warranty was mistakenly punched into a contract by an executive. As this mistake could not be reversed due to the company's rigid policies, Shyam bore the cost of rupees 19,000. Okay, so Shyam actually walked an extra mile for Vinita, right? It could not be reversed. Shyam had to bear, so this is new additional information, right? In this set. So Shyam had to bear the cost of 19,000 and Shyam kept quiet. Shyam didn't tell Vinita because he didn't want to, it was a long-term customer, influential customer. But now Vinita comes to know about this. He further added that Vinita should consider it a gift from Balaji Motors for purchasing the highest priced Diplomatico SUV. Okay, so Shyam informed her, and then also Shyam told her that, just to again sort of impress her as a customer, saying, no ma'am, don't worry about it. This is on us. This is a gift from us for you for purchasing the highest priced Diplomatico SUV, and you don't have to pay any charges for the damage on your new SUV. So again, he's just trying to, impress her as a customer so that he can get more business and retain her as a customer. And this happens everywhere. As Vinita rode back home, she wondered if she should pay rupees 19,000 to Shyam since the extended warranty came to her aid that day. Okay, so clearly Vinita is a good person, right? She has a good heart. She's thinking about it because Shyam has told her, remember Shyam has told her that Shyam had to bear that 19,000, right? So Vinita is obviously feeling a little guilty here. And considering that the extended warranty really came to her aid that day, now she's wondering if she should pay that 19,000 to Shyam. Okay. Which of the following is the most compelling rationale for Vinita to justify not paying rupees 19,000 to Shyam? Read the question very carefully, because if you make a mistake of skipping not, the answer will change completely. So read each and every word of the question like a child. Read everything. I say this. I teach VRC, so I say this to my VRC students. The same applies for BDM. Read the question very carefully. Most compelling rationale for Vinita to justify not paying 19,000 to Shyam. So again, put yourself in Vinita's shoes. What piece of information will prevent you or stop you from paying 19,000 to Shyam? And right now, understand Vinita's mindset. She's probably feeling a little guilty, or she's also thankful. And when she learns that Shyam had to pay 19,000, she's not feeling okay about it. So what piece of information will stop you as Vinita from paying 90,000 to Shyam? Okay, number one, Shyam would have come back to her if he had needed the money. Alright, think about it. Will this help you to not pay 19,000? Shyam would have come back to her if he had needed the money. As Vinita, will you be satisfied with the reason, and is it enough for you to say I won't pay 19,000 to Shyam? Not really. Right? I mean, Shyam is a vendor here. Vinita is a client. If Shyam needed the money, Shyam is not a friend of Vinita's that Shyam would come to Vinita. It's a vendor-client relationship. Right? Shyam would still be very hesitant. And Vinita as a customer obviously understands that. So it's not like if he needed it, he would come to Vinita. No, he would probably never tell Vinita because he wanted to, for his business, he wanted to save her as a client and, potentially get more clients. So this is not reason enough for Vinita to not pay, because every customer understands that, right? It's like the person you are in touch with in a business is not your friend, right? It's a business relationship, it's a formal relationship. So the chances of Shyam coming to Vinita in case of a need are very low. So this is not a compelling rationale at all. The mistake happened 3 months back and is water under the bridge now. Again, think about it, right? Vinita is she's considering it. She's feeling a little guilty about it, or she's feeling thankful. Just saying that, oh, the mistake happened 3 months back, let bygones be bygones. It's not a compelling rationale, right? It has to be a concrete rationale which will stop Vinita from paying 19,000. 3 months is not a very long time. Okay, 3 months is a very short time. It's just a quarter. So this is not compelling information at all. Okay, let's look at option 3. She paid more for the Diplomatico SUV compared to the price of a similar SUV from Panther. Okay, so this option is implying that just because she paid more for the Diplomatico SUV, this is reason enough for her to not pay 19,000 to Shyam. But we are comparing the price to the price of a similar SUV from Panther. It's similar, right? I mean, maybe there is a reason as to why she paid more for the Diplomatic SUV. And she knew this already, right? This is not like additional information. The question simply says, which of the following is the most compelling reason? So when she was paying for the Diplomatic SUV, chances are she was aware, right? She was aware she was paying more. And she probably paid more for the Diplomatic SUV for extra features. We don't know. It just says similar SUV from Panther, but they're not the same. So that additional payment could have been justified. We don't know. So this is not compelling enough for her to not pay Shyam. Had the accident not happened, she would not have been aware of the warranty. Okay, now think about it. Put yourself in Vinita's shoes. So just the accident happened, and that's why she became aware of the warranty, and now she's considering paying him back. Had the accident not happened, she wouldn't have been made aware. But how does that make sense? The accident has happened. Okay, the car has been damaged, and because of the warranty, she has saved a lot of money. Right? She didn't know about the warranty, but the warranty has saved a lot of money because she's not paying anything for the damages. The accident has happened, and now she has awareness. So saying that, getting into a hypothetical situation, had the accident not happened, she would have not been aware. How can this be a compelling rationale? This is not just a hypothetical situation. Okay. Number 5, she's aware that for expensive SUVs like hers, dealers often offer free extended warranty. Okay, interesting. So she's aware now that for expensive SUVs like her, dealers often offer free extended warranty, and it is expensive. The set clearly says highest priced Diplomatic SUV. So looks like now that it is a practice in the market that when it comes to expensive SUVs like her, dealers often give extended warranty for free because the ticket price of the car is so big. Alright, so if she's aware of that, this could be reason enough for her to say, okay, had it been, it's a very common practice, I didn't get the warranty, free warranty, but usually dealers do give this free warranty. So this is okay, right? Because it's a common practice in the market. I should have anyway gotten it by default, but I got it by accident, and it's the common practice. This can be a rationale for Vinita to not pay 19,000 because this would make her feel that it's justified, that I anyway should have gotten the free warranty. And now since I've gotten it, it's fine. I don't have to worry about it. Alright. So this can be a compelling rationale for her to sort of feel that it's justified for her to not pay 19,000 to Shyam. Okay. So this is the answer, option number 5. So I think overall this set's complexity is, I would say, medium to difficult. Right. I think out of 3 questions, if you read the set carefully, if you evaluate the questions, I think you can definitely get 2 out of 3 questions correct in this case. Let's look at the set which is about Prabhu's taxi services. Kasta, a small industrial town, hosted a steel plant and its associated ancillary companies. Most of its residents were steel plant employees from different states of the country. While the town offered employment opportunities, it lacked an airport. Alright. For those wanting to fly, the nearest airport was Mishalganj, 100 kilometers from Kasta. To reach the airport, people rented taxi services available at Kasta, and Prabhu was one such taxi provider. Alright, so it sort of introduces to us Kasta, which is, it says that it's a small industrial town. That's like the town's feature. It hosts a steel plant and its ancillary companies. It says most of its residents were steel plant employees from different states of the country. Okay. And the good thing about the town was it offers employment opportunities, but it lacked an airport. And this becomes important. You can connect the dots. If these people are from different states of the country, they won't want to travel home often. So the airport is important. For those wanting to fly, the nearest airport was in Mishalganj, which was 100 kilometers from Kasta. Right? And that's quite a distance. To reach the airport, people rented taxi services available at Kasta, and Prabhu was one such taxi provider. Alright? Okay, so we'll make a mental note of the important details. Let's move on. Prabhu's rates were reasonable. That's good. A trip to airport cost rupees 2200, but for a round trip, the fare was rupees 3000, and these rates are reasonable according to the set. Yet, it was not just affordability that made him popular. His reputation for punctuality and reliability was unmatched. Okay, interesting. This is good to know, and it can be an important point. So it's not just affordability that was attracting customers to him. It was also his reputation for punctuality and reliability. And the set says that this was unmatched, right? When it came to ensuring the safety of women traveling alone, he would always be the first choice, which is also important. So he's known for his punctuality, he's known for his reliability, okay, and he's also the first choice when it comes to solo women travelers. Such was his trustworthiness that even the steel plant would solicit his services when expecting solo female visitors. So trustworthiness was very high. Moreover, whenever residents encountered issues with their personal cars, they would turn to Prabhu for help. So great. So Prabhu was clearly, he was very popular, okay, and his rates were reasonable, but more than that, his punctuality and reliability, he was very, very well known for it. So he was the topmost, as was very most punctual and most reliable, because clearly says was unmatched. And also he was the first choice for ensuring the safety of women. So these were his USPs, right? The USPs of Prabhu's taxi services were his punctuality, reliability, and his trustworthiness, especially when it came to women traveling alone. However, the world shifted when the COVID-19 pandemic struck. Travel restrictions and safety concerns limited Prabhu's trips to Michelganj for over a year and a half, and that makes sense. Everything was closed down, right? So nobody was traveling, or very few people were traveling, so it affected his business. Financial strain followed with accumulating interest on his home loan. He was weighed down by debt, but things improved once COVID-19 travel restrictions were lifted, which is good. Having faced financial hardships during COVID-19, he sought to offset his losses by raising the fare. Okay, so COVID-19 was a difficult time for Prabhu, obviously, right? He was into the taxi business, which pretty much shut down, right? And he faced financial hardships. The good thing was that his business started picking up once the restrictions were lifted, but he had to offset his losses that he incurred during COVID, and he planned to increase his fare to offset those losses because he went into debt and all of that. Yet he was aware of the stiff competition in town. Okay, so he had to sort of keep that in mind, where many others offered services at a similar fare as his. Okay, this is an important point. So his competitors are offering services, taxi services at a similar fare as his. So his USP is not really his fare. Okay, his USP is his reliability and punctuality and the trustworthiness. Okay, those are his USPs. But now he's thinking about raising his fare, but he's in a dilemma, because if he raises his fare, and his competitors, that means his competitors will be offering at a lower fare, and that can take away a chunk of his business, because obviously customers are price conscious. All right, we'll keep these things in mind. Let's move on. Prabhu decided to increase the taxi fare for all future trips. He planned to charge rupees 3,000 for a one-way trip to the airport and rupees 1,000 more for a round trip. Okay, so we know that he's planning to increase his taxi fare. Okay, and he's planning to charge 3,000 for a one-way trip and 1,000 for a round trip. So quickly here, we'll just look at what were his existing fares. His existing fares were 2,200 for a trip to airport, one-way trip, and a round trip was 3,000. So that 2,200 is going up to 3,000, and that 3,000 is going up to 4,000, because it says 1,000 more for a round trip. So this is quite a bit of increase. I mean, it's a significant increase in his fares. It's not a small increase. Excuse me. Which of the following facts will best help Prabhu's regular customers in accepting the increase in fare? Read the question very carefully. Will best help Prabhu's regular customers, that means his customers, the ones that use his services regularly, in accepting the increase in fare. Okay, so think about, now again, put yourself in the customer's shoes, in a regular customer's shoes of Prabhu, right? What fact, as a customer, as a regular customer of Prabhu, if you're provided with a fact, which fact would help you in accepting this increase in fare? Prabhu has increased his fare. It's a significant increase, right? So what fact would help his regular customers to accept this fare? That's what the question is asking. So always with these questions, take a pause for a few seconds, understand the question very clearly, articulate it in your head, rephrase it if required, get a complete understanding of the question before you go to the options. Now, number one, because Prabhu offers repair services to residents' car-related issues. All right, that's also given in the set. Now, if you are a customer, a regular customer of Prabhu, and he's increasing his fare, significantly increasing his fare, just because he offers repair services to your car-related issues, you won't accept his fare. You're like, okay, my repair services are there, right? But that's different. This is taxi fare, and you're significantly increasing the fare. So the customers will still have a problem. This is not incentive enough for the customers to accept a significant increase in fare. Because Prabhu is punctual and reliable. Interesting. Now this is Prabhu's USP. This is his business's USP, that he is very punctual and reliable and also trustworthy. We're not considering that, but he's punctual and reliable. And it says it's unmatched. That means his competitors, as compared to his competitors, he's way more punctual and reliable. All right. And what is Prabhu's? See, Prabhu is worried about the competition, because if he increases his fare, the competitors will be providing services at a lower fare, and the customers would also know that. But then in this case, if the customers know that he's punctual and reliable, that can encourage them to accept the increase in fare. Remember, it's a drive to the airport. Okay, they're traveling to the airport. That's what the whole set is based on, right? These are rides to the airport. And for rides to the airport, punctuality and reliability are extremely important. I mean, think about it. I'm sure many of you have been in that situation, right? Waiting for an Uber cab, Ola cab, and it cancels at the last minute. And if you have a flight or a train to catch, that's panic mode. Okay, so this can be a good reason for the customers to accept the increase in fare. So we'll park it. Because Prabhu serves many top officials of the steel plant. Again, remember, they're asking about regular customers. Why would regular customers care about this? Just because Prabhu serves many top officials of the steel plant, we'll accept the increase in fare. You won't. As a customer, think about it. You won't. This is not a concrete reason to accept the increase in fare. Because the cost of living has gone up in Kasta. Again, if you put yourself, and this is important in DM, put yourself in the protagonist, the question's protagonist. There will always, usually there's a protagonist in the question, right? You have to think from their angle. Put yourself in their shoes. Think as a customer. Just because the cost of living has gone up for Kasta, will the customer be so understandable saying that, oh, just because the cost of living has gone up, I'm going to accept the significant increase in fare? No customer will. Customers are not that understanding. Okay, none of us are that understanding. Because Prabhu is facing financial hardships, again the same thing. I mean, do we have that empathy? Do we have that level of empathy as customers? Do we think like that, oh, just because that person is facing financial hardships, I'll accept the increase in fare? Maybe less than 0.5% of us think like that. Customers don't think like that, right? So that's why this is not a concrete reason. The only reason, the fact that would help regular customers in accepting the increase in fare is because Prabhu is punctual and reliable, and that is his USP, right? So remember, it's important to catch that detail when they say that it's unmatched, right? So that's clearly his USP. Let's move on. Let's go to question 2. After Prabhu increased his charges by 30%, okay, wow, so he did increase his charges by 30%. The revenue flow was promising in the beginning. Okay, very good. So awesome, he increased it, but still the revenue flow was great, was promising, especially from the steel plant's official trips. Okay, so he catered to both, right? He catered to the steel plant's officials and also people outside the steel plant, which were hiring his taxi services on a personal level. After a few months, he noticed a dip in private bookings. Okay, so this implies that the steel plant's official trips were fine, but the private bookings, right, he noticed a dip, and that could be due to the increase in fare. On exploring further, Prabhu realized that while women traveling solo still preferred Prabhu's service, some of his regular customers were choosing his competitors when traveling as a family. Some of his regular customers. Now that's a problem. Regular customers of your business are shifting away, okay, to somebody else, to a competitor when traveling as a family, and this year the implication is clear. It's because of the 30% increase in fare. However, he knew that his competitors, while charging lower than him, were still tardy and sometimes cancelled at the last minute. So the competitors tardy means lateness, right? They were not punctual, right? Tardiness is when you're late, you're tardy. So they were still tardy. That means punctuality and reliability was an issue because they're cancelling at the last minute. So remember, Prabhu's USP is reliability and punctuality. The competitors had a problem with this. For Prabhu, this was a plus. For Prabhu, this was his USP. This is his USP. Okay. So, all right. So there is a problem. Now you have to understand this. Every set presents a problem statement, right? The problem statement in this set is that Prabhu's regular customers are have moved away to some of his competitors because of the 30% increase in rate. All right. When they're traveling as a family, in that situation, they prefer his competitors. That has impacted his revenue flow. Okay. The thing to keep in mind is that Prabhu's aware that his competitors are charging lower than him, but reliability and punctuality is a problem with them, and Prabhu doesn't have that issue. Okay. Also to keep in mind is that the steel plant's official trips are fine. The dip is in the private bookings. Keep these things in mind. If you want, you can make a quick note of it also in your notepad. Which of the following options will best help Prabhu to retain his revenue flow? Understand the question very well. They're asking us which of the options will best help Prabhu to retain the revenue flow. He increased the price. The revenue flow was promising in the beginning, but then it dipped. It went down due to private bookings. Okay? Because his regular customers are going to his competitors. So the revenue flow has been impacted. We have to figure out an option that will best help Prabhu to retain his revenue flow. That means this dip has to be taken care of. Right? Whatever the dip is, we have to take care of it so that it comes back to the beginning part, the level in the beginning where the revenue flow was promising. Okay? Great. Let's evaluate this. Number one, charge a premium for the steel plant's official trips. Now, before you evaluate this option, remember the steel plant is doing well. For Prabhu's business, the steel plant's official trips are fine. Even after the increase, okay, it's fine. The revenue flow is promising mainly because of that. So the steel plant's official trips have not been impacted due to the 30% increase in fare. Now we're trying to address the dip in revenue that's coming from private bookings. We can address it in different ways. And one way of addressing the dip in revenue is to charge a premium for steel plant's official trips. But think about this. See, if you charge a premium and let's say everything goes well, the dip will be taken care of, right? Because you're charging more to the steel plant's official trips, which are already doing well. But what are the chances of the steel plant being okay with it? Prabhu has already raised the fare by 30%. The steel plant official trips are fine. They are okay with this increase because they prefer Prabhu for various reasons. But now, upon 30%, if you charge them a further premium, are they going to be okay with it? Very unlikely. You increased it by 30%. And in a small time gap, you're thinking of charging a premium. So you're thinking of raising the fare further. The steel plant can be in two minds about that increase. It's quite likely that the steel plant would not be okay with it. So is this the best option to help retain his revenue flow? No, there's a big risk here that he would lose that steel plant's business. So therefore, this is not the answer. All right, let's look at 2. Stick to his current increased charges. All right. Now, this option is saying stick to his current increased charges. That means do nothing, right? The charges have been increased, stick to it. But we're not really doing anything here. Okay, and will this help retain his revenue flow? He has a problem, right? The problem is that when he increased the fare by 30%, he noticed a dip in private bookings. Okay, so if he sticks to his current increased charges, does that solve the problem? Okay, unlikely. Okay, so let's see. We're not really sure of 2. We'll look at 3. Give 50% discount for personal trips. Okay, so personal trips is great because the private bookings have been he's seen a dip there. But giving a 50% discount, his objective is to address the dip in revenue. That means increase in revenue. 50% discount is massive. What will happen is you've raised it by 30% and now you're cutting it by half. That means you're lowering the rate even below the original rate before the increase. This is a very big discount. And by giving a discount for personal trips, if your objective is to increase your revenue, this doesn't really make sense. Had the discount been lower, we could have considered it. But cutting the price by half and going below the original price is not going to help you with the revenue flow. Okay, so no, this can't be the answer. Revert the price of services to its prior rate. All right. Now, if he reverts it to its prior rate, first of all, this option says revert the pricing of services to its prior rate. Pricing of services for everything, that's implied. It doesn't say revert the pricing of services for personal trips to its prior rate. That means we are reverting it to the prior rate for both official and personal. How will this help you maintain the revenue flow? Right? By increasing, when Prabhu increased it by 30%, the official trips were fine. if you revert the pricing of services, all the services to prior rate, how will it help you with the revenue flow? It's not clear whether they're saying private or official. We're going to assume that it's for everything. This doesn't make sense. This will not help with revenue. Okay. Charge a premium when women travel solo. Okay. Now, the question clearly says that while women traveling solo still preferred Prabhu's service, women were okay with it. Okay, women were okay with the premium being charged. Sorry, with the increase. I apologize. With the 30% increase, women were okay with that because women trusted Prabhu. Prabhu's trustworthiness was high. But now again, you're saying charge a premium when women travel solo. So women are okay with the increased rate. Now you're further charging a premium. It's similar to one. In case of one, the steel plant was okay with it. 30% is a significant increase. You're increasing it further. Here also women are okay with it. You're increasing it further. Are women going to be okay with it? Is any customer going to be okay with it? No, any customer is bound to have a dilemma here, right? They've already accepted a steep increase and now you're further charging a premium. So that they won't be okay, right? This is an extremely tricky question, okay? If you want my honest opinion, I think it's one of those BDM questions where it's best left unattempted because it's very difficult to figure out the right answer in this one. Okay, and I don't have the statistics, but I guess like most students, many students might have left it, okay, if their question selection is good, or if you attempted it, the chance of going wrong are very high in this case. It's an extremely tricky question because the answer here is 2, okay, and this is indeed the best answer, but extremely tricky to figure this out because 2 says stick to his current increased charges. That means the option is saying maintain status quo, don't change anything. Right? And it's difficult to accept this answer because it says we're not doing anything. We want to help Prabhu retain his revenue flow, but we're going to do that by retaining the current increased charges. So you're not taking any action. But in this situation, it does make sense. Or out of the 5 options, this is indeed the best option. Let's try to understand why. See, the problem here is that some of his customers, regular customers, are choosing his competitors. His official steel plant's official trips are absolutely fine. Women are still preferring Prabhu because of the trustworthiness, but some of his regular customers, which implies that a small portion of his regular customers are choosing his competitors because he has increased the price. And also an important detail in the set is that the competitors are still tardy. They still have reliability and punctuality issues, and Prabhu is doing great. He has maintained his USP. So the thing here is, customers, think about this, his regular customers are used to his level of service, his high level of service. Now these customers have moved on to competitors because he's increased his price. Going there and when they realize the competitors are not reliable and punctual and they have issues reaching the airport on time or potentially miss a flight, they will come back to Prabhu. Right? Understand that. This is also customer behavior. Once a customer gets used to a high level of service, suddenly when they go to a competitor which is providing a low level of service, the customer is going to have issues accepting that or getting used to that. And also this is airport, right? Reliability and punctuality are extremely important. Nobody wants to miss a flight, especially when you're traveling as a family. Imagine you're a family of 4 and you miss a flight. What the loss that you'll have in terms of your losing your air ticket fare. So the hope here is there's a small set of customers, some of his customers have moved, and when they notice those reliability and punctuality issues, they'll eventually come back home, come back to Prabhu. So sticking to his current increased charges, indeed out of the 5 options is the best way he can retain his revenue flow. Alright, very, very tricky question. Okay, as I said before, it's best left. So question selection is obviously paramount. Don't take unnecessary risks with BDM questions. But 2 is indeed the answer, because if you look at 1 and 5, charging a premium beyond the 30% increase is not feasible. Okay, 50% discount is too much. You're cutting the prices by half. It will not help in revenue. Reverting the prices of services to its prior rate for official when it's doing well doesn't make sense. Alright, so here both increasing the prices doesn't make sense, premium, because we've already increased it by 30%, and reverting or giving a massive discount also doesn't help with revenue. So the best situation here out of the 5 is indeed to stick to your current increased charges. Okay, very, very tough question. Alright, okay, let's look at question 3. Saroj, the new chief financial officer at the steel plant, used the service of Manoj when he first traveled from the Mishelganj airport to the plant. Now, Manoj is a new person that has come in here, right? And the Saroj is the new CFO. And he used the services of Manoj when he first traveled from Mishelganj airport to plant. Manoj was a rival of Prabhu, okay, in the taxi service business in Kasta. Manoj, upon learning that Saroj would be responsible for hiring taxi services for the steel plant, charged Saroj only rupees 1500 for that trip. So he charged a much lower rate than usual because obviously he was trying to get into Saroj's good books so that Saroj can give the business to Manoj. Further, he assured Saroj to charge the same for one-way trip and an additional rupees 500 for a round trip to the airport. So Manoj offered a steep discount to Saroj, not only for Saroj's personal trip, but also for the official trips in future. And obviously Manoj was doing this to get the business. Upon realizing that the plant utilized Prabhu's services for all the official trips to the airport, Saroj contacted Prabhu to discuss the rates offered by Manoj and inquired why the plant should continue using his service when Manoj provided the same at a lower price. Remember, Saroj is new. That's why it's important to read the set. New, so Saroj of course later came to know that Prabhu is the current taxi provider and Prabhu's rates are high. So set up a meeting with Prabhu to discuss the rates offered by Manoj and basically ask Prabhu that Manoj is offering us lower rates, so why should we continue with you? Prabhu realized that Manoj charged an extremely low price just to push Prabhu out of his business in the steel plant. Obviously Manoj is a competitor, right? Manoj is trying to push Prabhu and take away that account from Prabhu so that, Manoj can get additional business. And when that meeting was called, Prabhu realized this, that the extremely low price was a bait, right? So that Prabhu can be pushed out of his business in the steel plant. So clearly Prabhu has a problem here. Which of the following reasons given by Prabhu will best help his cause? Now again, put yourself in Prabhu's shoes. Your job is to convince Saroj, the new CFO, to retain Prabhu as the taxi provider for the steel plant. So what reasons can you give? Which reason can you give as Prabhu to best help this cause? The cause is to convince Saroj. Articulate that in your head. Excuse me. The case that you're trying to build is retain me as the service provider. I'm the best option for you. But what can you tell Saroj to convince them to retain you as the taxi provider? All right. Number one. Prabhu should tell Saroj that Manoj is unreliable and tardy and women are unsafe with him. Okay. Now, this is a serious allegation. All right. Unreliable and tardy might be true. Because we know from the set, not from in the question, but if you go in the set, it clearly says his punctuality and reliability is unmatched. So unreliable and tardy could be true. But saying that women are unsafe with him, right? We don't have evidence for this, right? We don't have concrete evidence. So Prabhu telling Saroj that, right? First of all, we don't know whether it's true or not. It's a serious allegation. And second, think about Saroj. Will Saroj get convinced by this? Saroj will think that Prabhu is saying this just to retain his business, right? Because now Manoj is offering low prices. So Prabhu is simply playing a trick just to retain his business and saying that women are unsafe with him. Saroj will not get, this is Prabhu's word and Saroj doesn't know Prabhu here. Okay. Saroj is new. So what are the chances that Saroj will get convinced? And also if you think about ethics, it's not ethical for Prabhu to suddenly go and make this allegation without any evidence that women are unsafe with Manoj, right? That's why this option is out. Prabhu should warn Saroj that Manoj's offer is not sustainable. Okay. Saroj is a CFO, is the new CFO. You're telling them that Manoj's offer is not sustainable. So basically, Prabhu is implying that, okay, Manoj is giving you low prices right now. Okay, but this is not sustainable. Eventually, he'll hike the prices. Okay. Now, Saroj is a CFO. You're talking to a finance head and you're giving them this rationale. And also the word warn, right? It's a very strong word here. Can you go and warn a client and that to the CFO in the company saying that I'm warning you that Manoj's offer is not unsustainable? The language is also inappropriate there. But also think about it. Even if, first of all, Saroj is not going to get convinced by this. And even if that's the case, the short term that Saroj is getting with Manoj at low prices, they can accept that. If Manoj raises their prices, Saroj can go look for another vendor. All right. What Prabhu is saying is not sustainable in the future. But even if for 6 months, let's say, hypothetically speaking, even for 6 months, Saroj can get a lower price, that's good for them, right? So this is not a convincing reason that Prabhu can give to help his cause. And also the one word is weird when you're talking to a client, especially a CFO. Prabhu should request Saroj to talk to a few of his colleagues before taking any decision. Alright, now remember Prabhu's USP is reliability, punctuality and trustworthiness. Saroj is obviously new. Saroj doesn't know about this. So if Prabhu tells Saroj to talk to a few of his colleagues and get feedback about Prabhu, that's a good option. Right? I mean, see, if Saroj goes and talks to a few of his colleagues, these are Saroj's colleagues. And the colleagues say, listen, fine, the rates are higher and Manoj is giving you a lower rate, but Prabhu is known for punctuality, reliability and trustworthiness. The chances of Saroj being convinced by his own colleagues are higher. Right? And Saroj is new, so getting that feedback would be good for Saroj as well. This is a good option, let's park it. Prabhu should offer to lower his price to the one offered by Manoj exclusively for the steel plant. Okay, very attractive option, right? This is like Prabhu giving in and saying that, okay, Manoj has lowered the price, I'll also lower my price. But remember in the set, it clearly says, and it's important to connect questions to relevant details in the set. See, here it said in the last part that he has faced financial hardships due to COVID-19. He's looking to offset his losses by raising the fare. Okay, he's in a lot of debt. So how feasible is this? Think about it. Okay, like lowering the price to the one offered by Manoj. How feasible is this for Prabhu? It might help his cause. Right, in the sense that Saroj can get convinced, but given the context that we have from the set, this is not a feasible option for Prabhu, right? And also if you get into a price war like that, you lower the price, you get the business. Manoj can lower the price further, somebody else can lower the price further. So it's not a sustainable way to address this. So this is out. Prabhu should introduce Saroj to Miss Nidhi Davde, his regular customer. This is also for feedback. Understand, 3 and 5 are both for feedback. The colleagues will give feedback to Saroj. Miss Nidhi Davde will also give feedback to Saroj. Which is stronger? Obviously 3 is stronger. Number 1, you have multiple colleagues giving feedback. And these are people known to Saroj. Miss Nidhi Davde is a stranger and that to just one person. So obviously 3 is stronger. So hence 3 is the answer here. Okay. I think in this set, out of the 3 questions, question 2 is extremely tricky. Best left unattempted for most students. 1 and 3 are manageable. So 6 out of 9 if you do the due diligence, read the questions carefully. And if you have practiced enough, 6 out of 9 is possible. Right? Mr. Singh lived in a sprawling housing society. He employed 2 part-time domestic helps, Vimla and Sharda. Vimla was responsible for cleaning and dusting while Sharda took care of cooking. Okay. So we know that he lives in a sprawling housing society. Sprawling housing society can mean like a big housing society, can also mean premium housing society where affluent people stay. He employed 2 part-time domestic helps. We know that, Vimla and Sharda, and they had separate roles and responsibilities. Vimla was in charge for cleaning and dusting, and Sharda was in charge of cooking. Okay. Once Sharda fell ill and consequently took leave for 3 days. Alright. When Sharda returned to work, she learned that Mr. Singh's gold ring, a gift from his mother, was missing. Suspecting theft, Mr. Singh had terminated Vimla. Alright, okay, so that's a serious situation. Mr. Singh asked Sharda to take additional responsibility of cleaning the house. We know that Sharda was in charge of cooking. Now, since Vimla has been terminated, Mr. Singh has asked Sharda to take additional responsibility, along with an offer to double her salary. Alright. Sharda accepted the offer as her previous 2 jobs were lost due to frequent health-related absences. She was struggling to make ends meet. This offer would go a long way to help her. Alright, so important details here, right? I mean, when Sharda was away on sick leave, the gold ring went missing. As a result, Vimla was terminated because Vimla was suspected of theft, and it says suspecting theft. Then Sharda was given an additional responsibility and an offer to double her salary. Sharda accepted her offer. As her previous 2 jobs were lost due to frequent health-related absences, she was struggling to make ends meet. So this was the primary reason why Sharda accepted the offer. Next day, while cleaning under the dressing table, Sharda found the gold ring. Okay. Overjoyed, Mr. Singh expressed his gratitude by presenting Sharda a reward of 1,000 rupees. However, he made no mention of reinstating Vimla. It's a problem, right? I mean, Vimla was terminated, and clearly now it's clear from here that Vimla was terminated for no fault of hers. She was suspected of theft, but she was innocent. She was terminated. Sharda found the ring, which is great, But then Mr. Singh, although he expressed gratitude and gave her a reward of 1,000 rupees, made no mention of reinstating Vimla, which is obviously a problem. Okay, keep these things in mind. Let's go to the questions. Sharda was contemplating whether she should inform Vimla that she found Mr. Singh's ring. Okay, anybody in Sharda's position would have this dilemma, right? Vimla was fired from her job because of this accusation of stealing a ring. Obviously, she has now been proven innocent because the ring has been found. So Sharda is now wondering if she should inform Vimla so that Vimla can prove her innocence. Which of the following considerations will best dissuade Sharda in sharing the information about the ring with Vimla? Okay, understand the question, very, very important. We are looking for a consideration that will dissuade Sharda, discourage Sharda in sharing the information about the ring with Vimla. Sharda is now wondering, that's a dilemma that she has, if she should share the information or not. We are looking for a reason or a consideration or a point that will dissuade, discourage Sharda in sharing this information with Vimla. Okay, again, you can put yourself in Sharda's shoes and solve this question. Whenever Sharda was absent, Vimla used to help her by taking over her responsibilities. Now, this is a positive point of Vimla, right? So whenever Sharda was absent, Vimla was pitching in. Now, if this information, as if you were Sharda and if you got this information, that would potentially encourage you to share the information with Vimla, because Vimla has helped you in the past. So then you would feel obliged to help her now. So the question is asking best discourage Sharda. This would actually encourage Sharda to share the information with Vimla. So this is not the answer. Mr. Singh will probably terminate Sharda if he gets to know that she has revealed this information. Now the question is saying which the consideration that will best discourage Sharda in revealing this information. Remember, this job is very important for Sharda. You can go back and check the set, right? She lost her previous 2 jobs because of health related concerns. So this job is very important with her. Now, if there is a chance that Sharda will get terminated upon sharing this information with Vimla, then this can discourage Sharda. Okay. Now, you might say that, oh, this is not correct. Sharda should share the information because Vimla is the accused. It's an unfair accusation. And by sharing the information, Sharda will help Vimla prove her innocence. But here, the question is asking discouraging Sharda. Sharda will obviously think about this. Her job is at stake, right? And she badly needs this job. So if there is a chance of termination, Sharda will hesitate. Sharda will get discouraged to reveal this information. Okay, so let's park this. This might seem unfair, but stick to the question. Will it discourage Sharda? Yes. Okay, and we have to answer the question. Number 3, Sharda is not keeping well, and Mr. Singh warned her that her frequent absences could lead to her termination. Now look at both 2 and 3. Both 2 and 3 are talking about the risk of Sharda's termination. But 2 clearly says the termination would happen if she reveals the information. 3 is talking about her health related absences. How is this related to what we're discussing? Okay, this threat would not threat, sorry. The risk in 3 will always be there. This is irrespective of the situation at hand. What Mr. Singh has said, that if there are frequent absences due to health, you might be terminated. But this situation is unrelated to what we're discussing, right? 2 is related because the termination would happen if she reveals this information. So it's very directly related to the situation, whereas 3 is not related. It's irrelevant. Whether she shares it, doesn't share it, this risk of getting terminated because of sick leaves will still remain. So it's not relevant, and we're going to eliminate this option. Vimla already knows she has not stolen anything, so telling her will not give her any new information. Okay, now again, put yourself in Sharda's shoes. Can you convince yourself that, okay, I don't need to share this information with Vimla because she already knows that she has not stolen anything? That's not the point. Definitely Vimla knows that she has not stolen anything, but Vimla has been accused of a crime. Vimla has been accused of a theft. So Vimla will want to prove her innocence, right? So here, this is not reason enough. This won't discourage Sharda because it's not enough. Vimla already knows this, but Vimla needs help to prove her innocence. So it's important, and therefore 4 is not a concrete reason. Had Vimla done her job properly, she would have found the ring and avoided this incident. Now this is putting the ownership on Vimla again. Okay, first of all, she's been accused unfairly. It's a wrong accusation. So saying that, okay, had she done her job properly, she would have found the ring. That's not the point here. The point is that an unfair accusation has been imposed on Vimla, and Vimla will want to prove her innocence. So this can't be a reason to discourage Sharda from sharing her information. This is kind of like, if you also think about it, Vimla is already unfairly accused, and we're also imposing this additional sort of onus on her. So this doesn't make sense in this case. The answer that makes sense is 2, okay, and that is the right answer. The termination risk is a big risk for Sharda, who needs this job badly. So this will definitely dissuade her from sharing, discourage her from sharing this information with Vimla. Okay, slightly tricky question, because you might wonder if it's fair or not fair, but think again from Sharda's angle, who badly needs this job. This will definitely discourage her, which is what the question is asking. Okay, let's look at question 2. 2 months passed, and owing to Sharda's improved health and dedication, Sharda started working in 3 more houses. Great, good job, Sharda. However, Vimla was dismissed from her jobs in 2 more houses, primarily due to the ring incident. This is really bad for Vimla, right? She was unfairly accused. It's a wrong accusation, and because of that, she not only lost Mr. Singh's job, but also two more houses. News of the discovery of the lost ring had not become public, and Sharda wanted to help Vimla. Obviously, Sharda is contemplating over possible actions. All right. So now see, this has become more serious. Vimla has lost 2 more jobs because of this ring incident. So now, and the news is still not public. Okay. People would have known that the 2 houses that dismissed her would have known from Mr. Singh, or maybe a small group of people know, Singh's friends. But publicly, this news has not become public. News of the fact that the ring was found and Vimla is innocent. So here Sharda obviously wants to help Vimla, because Vimla is in distress. Sharda is contemplating over possible actions. Which of the following actions by Sharda will best help Vimla? Again, now stick to the question only. Okay. Again, put yourself in Sharda's shoes. You have to take an action that will best help Vimla. Now, what is Vimla's concern? Vimla's concern is that she has lost 2 more jobs because of the ring incident. That's her primary concern. Okay, so we have to help Vimla by trying to address this concern. Okay, keep that in mind. That is what it means. Best help Vimla in what sense? By addressing this major concern that she has lost 2 her jobs because of the ring incident. Okay, number 1, divulge to Vimla's employers and the housing society that she has found the ring. This is an action by Sharda, potential action. Now think about it. So Sharda goes to Vimla's employers, the 2 employers who have now terminated her, and tells them that she has found the ring, Sharda has found the ring, implying that Vimla is innocent. Okay, this can help in Vimla getting the job back, because of the employers have terminated her because of this ring incident. If Sharda goes to them and tells them that the ring has been found, this could potentially help in the employers reinstating Vimla in her job. Okay, so let's park this. This could work. Number 2, confront Mr. Singh about concealing the discovery of the lost ring from the housing society residents. All right. So now imagine Sharda has a job at Mr. Singh's place. Again, the question says we have to help Vimla, right? Sharda has a job at Mr. Singh's place. Let's say she goes and confront her employer and about, why did you conceal the discovery? You should have told everyone, look at what's happening. Vimla has lost her job because of this false accusation. Now, this could potentially create a conflict with Mr. Singh. Our job here, Sharda's job here, is to help Vimla. If you antagonize Mr. Singh like this, Mr. Singh might refuse to make the information public. Right? The whole idea here is to prove to Vimla's employers that she's innocent. By antagonizing Mr. Singh and confronting her like this, Mr. Singh might go on the defense mode and say that I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to reveal the information. Who are you? It's none of your business. I'm not revealing the information in public. So it doesn't really help Vimla here. Antagonizing Mr. Singh and creating a conflict with Mr. Singh is not going to help Vimla. Okay? Alright, our objective is to help Vimla. Quit the job at Mr. Singh's house and ask him to consider offering that job to Vimla. Now think about this. Mr. Singh has terminated Vimla. Mr. Singh has not made the information public for whatever reasons. Now, if Sharda quits the job and persuades Singh to give the job to Vimla, what are the chances that Singh will accept this? Again, you're creating a conflict with Mr. Singh. It's not going to help anyone, right? And what are the chances of Mr. Singh giving the job back to Vimla? He could have done that already. He could have made the information public and helped Vimla, but he did not. by creating a further conflict, because if you quit the job, that's obviously bound to make Mr. Singh angry, and that conflict is not going to help Vimla. Inform Vimla that the ring has been found and advise her to demand compensation from Mr. Singh for tarnishing her image. Now, you inform Vimla, okay, our job is to help Vimla get back those jobs. How does this help her? Right? Because if she goes and tells Vimla, and then advises Vimla, go and demand compensation from Mr. Singh for tarnishing her image. Again, you're creating a conflict with Mr. Singh. Okay? This can make Mr. Singh angry. This can antagonize him. Right? Although it's the right thing for Vimla to do, but is it helping her in this situation? We're trying to help her get those jobs back. This might not help her. Because if you make Mr. Singh angry and he refuses to make that information public, again, Vimla is back to square one. And he can refuse to give the compensation also. It doesn't really help her. Alright, inform as many domestic helps in the housing society as possible that she has found the ring. Okay, now what is the implication of this option? If the news, the idea is to spread the news so that it eventually reaches Vimla's employers. Now, by informing domestic helps and spreading the news may or may not reach Vimla's employers. Right? I mean, look at one. In one, she's directly going to Vimla's employees and informing them. Isn't that better than going to domestic helps and then hoping that the news will reach? And also, once the news spreads, masala gets added, some warped version of the news might reach because it becomes gossip. Right? It's always better to have direct communication rather than spreading it and then hoping that it will reach, and also what version of twisted information will reach, we don't know. So this may or may not help Vimla. One is clearly better and the strongest option, because if the employees are convinced, they might reinstate Vimla. Okay, so the answer is 1. The news of the discovery of the lost ring eventually became public. The domestic helps in the society were chagrined by the treatment meted out to Vimla and the fact that the news of the discovery was not made public immediately. Don't let chagrin throw you off. It's an uncommon word. Here you can understand it from context that the domestic helps in the society were extremely annoyed and frustrated, and that's what chagrin means, by the treatment meted out to Vimla and the fact that the news of the discovery was not made public immediately. They wanted to ensure that they would not get targeted every time if something goes missing. And the domestic helps, this is a legitimate concern, right? If this has happened once to Vimla, it can happen to anybody, any other domestic help. So they wanted to ensure that they would not get targeted every time something goes missing, right? Which of the following policy options will best minimize the chance of employers suspecting their domestic workers of theft in the future? Understand this question very carefully, especially it's a longer question. We're looking for a policy option that will best minimize the chance of employers suspecting their domestic workers of theft in the future. Okay, so we have to protect the domestic helps, all right, from suspicion of theft in the future in such incidents. So we have to minimize the chances of the employers blatantly suspecting their domestic workers. So understand the question, and now let's look for a policy option. Let's look at option 1. The domestic workers will undergo daily search by the security guards when leaving the society. Now, this option, when you read it, it may seem unfair to the domestic workers. You may think that why should the domestic workers be subjected to this daily search? It's unfair, it's unethical. Some of you might think it's discriminatory. Those thoughts can come in your head. But think about it, right? If the domestic workers undergo a daily search by the security guards thoroughly check them to see that they don't have any item from the households that they're working in. If this check is done on a daily basis, the employers can rest easy, right? They know that security is checking them every day. So if a theft happens, the chances of them suspecting the domestic workers are quite low. I'm not saying they wouldn't suspect it, they can still suspect them, but the chances are lower because the employers know that there is a daily search conducted every day. If there was something, if they had stolen something, that would be immediately found by the security. So this option will give employers relief and can minimize the chance of suspecting the domestic workers. Let's park this. The current address and contact details of all domestic workers should be submitted to the housing society. Now, this also seems like a good option, but again, read the question. We're trying to minimize the chance of employer's suspicion. Will this reduce the chance of suspicion? See, what this will help is if something is stolen by a domestic worker, they know their contact details, so the chances of finding that stolen item are higher. They can report to the police and the police can go and do a check and potentially find that stolen item. So the chances of finding the stolen item are higher, but does this reduce the suspicion? Does this reduce the chance of suspicion? No. The employees can still suspect them, but it might help in finding the stolen item. That's why it's very important to read the question carefully and answer the question directly. Okay? This will not reduce suspicion. If there is a suspicion of theft, the security guards will first conduct a thorough search of the affected house. Alright, again we are talking about what should happen after the theft. The security guards go and conduct a thorough search that can help them in finding the stolen item. But how does this reduce suspicion? Right, the employees can still suspect the domestic workers. Yes, the security guards are coming and doing a thorough search, which can later prove the domestic workers' innocence, but it doesn't reduce the chances of suspicion. Again, stick to the question. When a domestic worker is terminated on suspicion of theft without proof, they will have to be paid at least 1 month's salary in full. Okay, when a domestic worker is terminated on suspicion of theft without proof, they'll have to be paid at least 1 month's salary in full. How does this reduce chances of suspicion? Again, this is after the theft. And also after the suspicion. They've been suspected, but there is no proof. So what we are saying is the domestic worker should be paid at least 1 month's salary in full. But this doesn't help in reducing the chances of suspicion again. When a domestic worker is terminated on suspicion of theft, the employee will have to publicly apologize if the domestic worker can prove their innocence. Again, we are talking about what will happen after the theft. How does this reduce suspicion? They will still, what this option is saying is the employers will still suspect, but they'll have to publicly apologize if the worker can prove their innocence. This doesn't reduce the chance of employees suspecting. Okay. Again, it's very, very important in BDM to read the question, understand the question, and make sure the option is directly addressing that question. Okay. Or it should be the best it should address the question in the best way possible out of the 5 options. So the answer here is 1. Let's look at the set which is about Symbolis. In Symbolis, an upcoming medium-sized IT services organization, only 1% of the employees were awarded an annual performance bonus. Okay, that's too less, right? Now we know that Symbolis is an upcoming medium-sized IT services organization. We'll make a note of it, and only 1% of the employees were awarded an annual performance bonus. That's low even by the lowest standards. This annual performance bonus was decided by a committee formed of different functional heads, so different department heads. When Miss Nalini Katakayam received the annual bonus for the first time in her 5 years at Symbolis, Miss Shalini Sampath, a colleague with 7 years of tenure at Symbolis, told Nalini that this annual bonus was less a reflection of Nalini's performance and more a recognition of those who have fostered a strong rapport with the powers that be. This is tricky. Incidentally, Shalini had never received any performance bonus in her tenure at the company. Alright, so here Nalini has, only 1% of the employees have been awarded an annual performance bonus. Nalini has got this for the first time in her 5 years at Symbolis. So obviously she must be over the moon about it. But now, to sort of rain on a parade, Miss Shalini, a colleague with 7 years of tenure, tells her that this is not because of your performance, but because you have a strong connection with the management. So basically implying favoritism, right? Nepotism, as we say nowadays. So, you have a great connection, they're just playing favorites, that's why you got the bonus. This is not a reflection on your performance. It's a very negative comment, to be made by a colleague. And Shalini has not received a performance bonus ever. So this can imply that Shalini is envious and jealous, and that's why this negativity is coming out. It's just an implication. It could be the case. We don't know. But it's unfair. It's unfair for Shalini to say this. And obviously, this could impact Nalini because it's kind of like undermining her performance. All right, let's look at it's an interesting set. Let's look at the question. Shalini's comments deeply hurt Nalini, obviously, especially since she had always considered Shalini to be a close friend. Okay, this is additional information. So Nalini had considered Shalini to be a close friend, so this would even hurt her more deeply. Nalini felt like declining the bonus, given her respect for and relationship with Shalini. Alright, now this is a very tricky situation. Nalini now feels like declining the bonus. Now, first of all, nobody should decline the bonus, especially 1% of the employees are receiving an annual performance bonus. But anyway, I mean, this is a clearly an emotional situation, right? Nalini is being emotional about it, and rightly so. So she feels like declining the bonus because now Shalini has planted a seed of doubt in her head that this is not due to your performance, this is due to favoritism. So that is the primary reason that she feels like declining the bonus, and also she respects her relationship with Shalini. She respects Shalini potentially as a senior because Shalini has been in the company for 7 years, 2+ years as compared to Nalini. So she respects her relationship, she respects Shalini, so probably she respects her word as well. Like her word matters to her. And that's why probably Nalini is feeling that she's not deserving of this bonus right now because this is probably being given to her because of nepotism. Very tricky. Which of the following reasons, if true, will best dissuade Nalini from declining the bonus? Okay, thank God. I mean, this is exactly what Nalini needs at this point in time. She needs to accept the bonus, or she needs to not decline the bonus. So what this question is asking us is, give us which of the following reasons will best dissuade her from declining the bonus, or in other words, will best encourage her to accept the bonus. Right? So frame it in whatever way is easier for you, but understand the question. We have to push Nalini to accept the bonus and not decline it. So which reason will best help her to do that? So put yourself in Nalini's shoes and analyze it. Shalini is known for confronting her boss whenever they changed deadlines. Okay, so this is a negative on Shalini. Okay, we are highlighting her confrontational nature with her boss. But how is this connected to the situation? Think about it. Shalini has come and told Nalini something. Because of that, Nalini feels like declining the bonus. Shalini's confrontational with her boss is unrelated with the situation. She's confrontational with the management or the boss for changing deadlines. This has nothing to do with the situation at hand. This could be a minus. Could be. Again, we don't know in what situation did she do this, but this could be a negative for Shalini, but not related to the situation. Alright, Shalini, good at heart, is known for making insensitive comments. Okay, so she's good at heart, but she's known for making these insensitive comments. She's made these insensitive comments in the past as well. Okay, now if she's known for this, if Nalini knows that, Nalini can potentially think and say, okay, fine, Shalini said this to me, I'm hurt, but this is a habit. This is a habit that she has. So potentially Shalini is doing this out of habit, and maybe this is not the truth, right? Because Nalini right now thinks that she's not deserving. That's the inference from the question. She's not deserving of the bonus. So if this is Shalini's habit, Nalini could potentially disregard this comment and attribute it to her habit and say, fine, probably she didn't mean it, or she just said this out of habit, and this is not true. That can potentially discourage her from declining the bonus. Okay. So it's a subtle one, but we'll park it. Very few people who are not considered loyal receive the bonus. Now, what this is implying is that loyalty is rewarded with a bonus. Understand that statement. Very few people who are not considered loyal. That means most people who receive the bonus are loyal. Okay. So loyalty is being equated to your chances of getting a bonus. Now, this can perhaps trouble Nalini more. Because if this is true, and we have to assume it is true, then that means Nalini is being rewarded for loyalty and not performance. Right? This could perhaps trouble her more and lead her to declining the bonus. So this won't help in this situation. Shalini's irreverent comment about a previous boss pushed her out of the team. Irreverent is disrespectful. So clearly, now in this option, Shalini has a bad track record. So she made a disrespectful comment and she was pushed out of the team. So again, a minus on Shalini. But the question is, how is this related to the situation at hand? Right? She's been disrespectful about her previous boss, but it's nothing to do with the situation that we're talking about. So again, just like one, this will be eliminated. In her close group, Nalini is the first person to receive the bonus. Okay, good job, good job. So Nalini can feel good about it, right? But again, the seed of doubt that Shalini has planted remains, right? Because now Nalini is wondering whether she deserves the bonus, whether her performance was worthy of a bonus. Fine, she's the first person to receive the bonus, but that concern of not being deserving of those bonus remains, and hence this will not help in this situation. The point that will help is that, okay, this is Shalini's habit, and that's why potentially I can disregard that comment. Tricky one, very tricky question, because 2 is very subtle. Like you have to really think deep and spend time on this question and then figure it out. In an exam setting, this can be very tricky. So again, BDM can have these tricky questions. Not all questions are like that. A few questions are like that. But in my opinion, this is a question that, many students or most students should have left unattempted. So if you're confused in the exam, don't take an unnecessary risk. Leave such questions. But yeah, 2 is subtle, but 2 is indeed the correct answer. All right, let's go to question 2. Since receiving the performance bonus, Nalini noticed a change in how her teammates behaved with her. This sadly happens quite often, right? People can get jealous, envious, whatever that is. We'll see what is happening. They appeared indifferent towards her. Although there were no major issues, Nalini could not help but sense that her teammates began to perceive her as having a closer relationship with the top brass following her recent accomplishment. So the teammates now think that Nalini is very close to the top brass, so they are now a little scared of her. They are distancing themselves from her because they're worried that, okay, if we open up in front of Nalini, if we say something bad about the organization, the management, Nalini would go and pass on that information to the management, and obviously the teammates will get into trouble. So that's why they are staying away from her, or they are being indifferent towards her. Nalini assumed that her teammates might be influenced by Shalini. Consequently, they seemed to be avoiding informal interactions with her. So when this is happening, when this is clearly happening, they're behaving indifferently towards her, right? And they're perceiving her as having a closer relationship with the top brass. So Nalini is assuming that this is because of Shalini's influence. And consequently, the teammates are also avoiding informal interactions with her. Okay, let's look at the question. As Nalini had to rely on the support of her teammates, what could Nalini best do to normalize her relationship with them? Again, just focus on the question. Put yourself in Nalini's shoes. You want to normalize your relationship with your teammates, obviously, and clearly because you have to rely on the support of your teammates. So if your teammates are being indifferent, that will come in the way of work, and that will impact your performance as well. So Nalini wants to now normalize her relationship with them. Remember that Nalini has assumed that Shalini's influence is playing a role in her here, and the teammates are perceiving her to be to having a close relationship with the top brass following the promotion. Let's look at the options. So we have to normalize the relationship. Do nothing in the hope that things will normalize in time. This is no action. Okay, you're not taking any action. There is a problem here. You have to address the problem. Again, in some cases, this might be okay. I'm not saying that no action is never the answer, but it's rare, right? I mean, you have a problem, you have to address the problem. Just taking no action doesn't really help. That can't be a good approach. There might be exceptions, but in this case, it doesn't make sense, right? Just sort of, doing nothing and staying like that and hoping that this will normalize, and especially people-related issues don't get normalized like that. You have to take steps towards, they're very tricky, you have to take steps towards addressing them. So this is no action, this doesn't make sense in this case. Confront Shalini and ask her to stop spreading rumors. Now, the word assumed is very important here. Nalini is assuming that Shalini is influencing the teammates. It's just an assumption. Going based on assumption and confronting Shalini can create a further conflict with Shalini, and I'm focusing on the set. In the set, it's very clear. The set clearly says that Shalini comes and tells us to Nalini that you don't deserve this promotion, it's because of your rapport. So now if Nalini confronts Shalini and asks her to stop spreading rumors based on an assumption, this can create a bigger conflict, situation can get escalated. Nalini can't confront Shalini just based on an assumption here. Okay? Alright, that's why it's important to read the question carefully. Start saying negative things about their bosses to her teammates. This is a horrible strategy. Okay? This is like you already have negativity. You're trying to kill negativity with negativity. It's not going to work. Right? Nalini, if she starts saying negative things, that's just going to create more negativity. It can backfire as well. one of the teammates goes and says this out of whatever reasons to the management that this is what Nalini is doing. This is a horrible strategy. Invite her teammates for dinner on a weekend. Nice. Nice. So this is a step, right? This is action. Nalini wants to normalize the relationship. So she, wants to invite the teammates for dinner. Perhaps over the dinner she could talk about it, or just the act of inviting them on dinner could help normalize a relationship. So social interaction. Okay, let's park this. Talk to her teammates regarding their indifference towards her. Good. This is communication, open communication. Just go to them, talk to them nicely, saying, hey, this is what I've noticed. You're being indifferent, or there seems to be an issue. Is there a problem? Can we talk it out? Can we address it? Can I clarify? Right? If she handles this communication very well, open communication is fantastic. Now, we'll park this as well. Between 4 and 5, think about it. What will best help? Dinner, yes, it's social interaction, but talking to the teammates directly and having an open communication channel is always better, especially in case of interpersonal issues. Interpersonal issues, you can probably relate to this. Everyone has interpersonal issues in personal life or at work. Communication is extremely important. The moment communication breaks down, all sorts of issues happen. So between 4 and 5, definitely 5 is a better answer. Okay. All right. Let's look at question 3. A significant project recently arrived at Symbolis, and Nalini was chosen to spearhead it. Fantastic. Lead it. She was given the autonomy to create her own team to collaborate and drive this project to success. Fantastic. So clearly she's been given more responsibilities. Nalini wanted to build a team where each of the team members worked with great camaraderie. All right, the spelling of camaraderie is wrong. Sorry, I also teach VRC, so I have to always wear that VRC hat. But anyway, just ignore that. I think it was wrong in the exam as well. I'm not sure. We got this from the answer key. So Nalini wanted to build a team where each of the team members worked with great camaraderie. All right. As Shalini had previous experience of working with a client, Nalini offered her to join the team. It's tricky. It's tricky. Nalini and Shalini, based on the set, have a tricky relationship, but Nalini is still offering her to join the team because Shalini has previous experience of working with the client, and that always helps. Context, right? However, Shalini expressed her willingness to work on the project only on the condition that she would be appointed as a team leader. Very tricky. Okay, Shalini's behavior seems to be going from bad to worse. So Nalini is offering to Shalini that, okay, you have historical context, come join the team. Shalini says, I will join on one condition, that you have to appoint me as a team leader. This is very tricky because Nalini has been appointed as a team leader by the management. Okay, clearly says Nalini was chosen to spearhead it. So basically Shalini is saying that you give me your leadership position and I'll become a part of the team. This is not good. This is not good. This is kind of like it's like a minor. I wouldn't call it a minor. I wouldn't call it a threat, but this is extremely negative. It's a very negative approach to to go about a situation on part of Shalini. But it is what it is. Let's keep this in mind. Nalini was aware that the client was very difficult to work with. Of the 3 previous projects with the client, only the one where Shalini was a team member was successfully completed. This makes it even more difficult for Nalini, right? Because Nalini knows that the client is very tricky and only one of the 3 past projects was successful and Shalini was a team member there. So now Nalini is clearly in a spot. Let's see what the question is saying. What should be the best course of action for Nalini regarding the inclusion of Shalini in the team? Okay, now understand this question very well. The question is not saying that Nalini should include Shalini in the team. No, it's not like we're looking for reasons to include Shalini. No, we're looking for the best course of action that Nalini should take in this situation. It could be either to include Shalini or exclude Shalini, right? We're looking for the best course of action. So don't get confused by the question. We're looking for the best course of action in this tricky situation, and the situation is definitely tricky. Okay, so let's help Nalini here. Again, we'll put ourselves in Nalini's shoes. Form a team without Shalini and inform her boss about Shalini's demand. See, if she goes and forms a team without Shalini and then goes and informs her boss about Shalini's demand, this is escalating the situation, right? Shalini is placing an unfair demand. Yes, that is correct. But bypassing her like this, right? And then forming a team and then also informing her boss about Shalini's demand, it's escalating the situation. So I'm not saying that, in this situation, escalating it like this is not inappropriate, right? There could be other more severe situations where you have to escalate, you have to inform the management, but this situation doesn't merit this escalation. So this is out. Let's look at 2. Tell her boss that Shalini should lead the team as she has worked with the client before. Why? Nalini is giving up on her leadership position, right? She has been promoted. She's been given this additional responsibility, which is clearly a big responsibility. Why should Nalini give up this leadership position to Shalini? Just because Shalini is placing an unfair demand. That means Nalini is giving in to Shalini's unfair demand, which is not correct. And this also will reflect badly on Nalini's leadership. Okay, so this is definitely not the correct option. Nalini should not give up in this case because it's an unfair demand. Number 3, request a boss to order Shalini to join the team. Again, the situation, Nalini would escalate with Shalini by doing this, right? By going to a boss and saying, order Shalini to join the team. Let's say even if Shalini joins the team, because of this whole, the way Nalini has approached this could make Shalini more hostile. Right? Shalini doesn't get a leadership position. She's been forced to join the team. This could make her more hostile and impact the performance of the project. It's not a good solution. All right. Complain about Shalini's attitude to the human resource manager. Okay. Now this is serious. You're going to HR and you're escalating. I'm not saying going to HR and escalating inappropriate behavior is always wrong, but in this situation, it seems too extreme. And this is a big escalation. Anytime you make an HR escalation in an organization, it's a big thing that can have a huge impact on Shalini's career. Doesn't seem like a good option. This situation doesn't merit this serious escalation. Ask Shalini to reconsider, and this project can be important to both of them. Again, communication, right? Go to the person directly. Nalini should give Shalini a chance, right? And say, hey, and they've had a good relationship as well. Fine, it has turned sour, but she can go and talk to Shalini, have a discussion, request her to reconsider this project as it can be important to both of them, right? Nalini can grow, Shalini can grow as well. So if they can have a good conversation and Nalini can pump some sense into Shalini's head, this could be a good solution, right? So hence, this is the best course of action. To some of you, it might seem lukewarm, right? That, oh, why is Nalini doing this? Nalini should escalate. But see, the escalations should be done in situations that demand an escalation. If there is a chance to talk to the person one-on-one and resolve it, why escalate and create a conflict, right? Give the other person a chance, and if it doesn't work, then by all means escalate. I mean, think about it. If you were in Shalini's position, you would want that as well. You would want a chance to sort of talk it out and discuss, and then if it doesn't work, by all means escalate. Okay, so hence 5 is the correct answer.